It's got, I'm early as well, kind of ready to go. Just like having a wee bit of the, just in case it all messes up. We're trying to play some reggae, which is obviously not working because I can't play reggae, but we're going to go. What do you want? Hey, Jazz. Hey, David. How was it? 5 minutes. I've got 24. I'm not going. Suppose I can start drinking at 8 o'clock. Can't wait to stop that drinking. This is Friday night thinking, I feel much better. I'm going to get a bottle of Bucky. So I did, and that's how much of it I drank. So I don't have a full bottle, but I do have. Last week I got my pal to get me some Magnum, and that's how much I drank when I was actually still on the COVID. So I've got this and this. So I think if you had to do them together. Should I pour this into that? Go for live experiments. Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a mouthful of that and a mouthful of that, swish them together and see whether I should mix them together. I go for the Bucky first. Did I just do it? I'll just do it. Yeah, pour it. Join the two together. This is a worldwide super exclusive. I don't know if anyone's ever done this before. Actually, it's going to upgrade the alcohol, the horsepower of this. Because Bucky's only 15 and this stuff's 17.5. So that's going to put it up to 15.1 or 15.2 or something, isn't it? There we go. There we go. And I get a good shake here. I think there's a slight earth issue with this guitar. So it'd be like an even sweeter, slightly Jamaican bottle of Bucky. You can totally taste the Magnum. Maybe it's just because I'm so used to Bucky, though. Yeah. Anyway, that's yeah. So somebody earlier on. Oh yeah, of course, yeah, totally. Super chat me. It's like that'll pay for that. So earlier on, my pal Wayne, it's happy. Why don't you have a Yamaki night? So I did. So I've gone for Yamaha guitars, apart from that one at the end there. And then some, I think it was David, I'm not sure, David Harvey, I think it might be David Hill, said, why don't you get the Squier Bullet out? So I went for a bit of compromise and got the Squier Bullet out. What I keep noticing, looking at it, see the, I don't know if this can actually show up. See the angle, where the string tree is? It seems like a really strange angle. Are these tuners dead long or something? Because these strings seem to come in really much at this angle to go into the string tree. It doesn't seem to do it any harm, but it just kind of looks odd. Is that not? Is the string tree normally maybe down here somewhere? Is that what it is? It's making it look a bit strange. I do rather like this guitar though. It doesn't get played enough. What I was really cheesed off about was it's not doing it anymore. The switch. Hey Dal, how's it going? The switch isn't brilliant, which is really annoying because when I got it, the reason I got it cheap is because the switch was burst. And I thought, all right, okay. And then you can actually buy the exact same switch today. It's like a DM30 or something like that, made in Japan switch. It was only like 10 or 12 quid. I thought, right, I could replace it with the exact same one, like totally identical, even had the same sticker from 1983 as the one that was on it. And it's not brilliant. It's got a crack on it. I think brand spanking new. Probably from lack of use, actually, more than anything else. It doesn't cut in and out anymore, but what I think I might do is see with these sort of, is it oak Grigsby switches are called? You know, the ones that have got the sort of round bits, the two bits like that, rather than being a circuit board. You can double wire them. So you've got, normally on one of these switches, you've got like, how do I make this not sound really confusing? Right, there's three lugs and an output on either side. So there's two of these. So you join the two outputs together and then stick that to output the guitar, and the three lugs that are left, you join these two together so that it works when you're in this pickup and when you're in the middle position. And then on the other lug, on the other half of the switch, you join these two together. So I might do that, and then what I'll do is I'll cross wire across. I'm not explaining that well at all, am I? You can sort of double wire it so it can't ever die. Even if half the switch breaks, you've still got most of it. That just comes from the original three-way switch. Is literally you put your three pickups onto the three lugs, and then there's the output. That's all there is. So on a telly, when you've only got two pickups, well, okay, it's not a telly, but you know what I mean. Then if you're in the middle position, there's nothing connected to that, so you have to connect one side of the switch to the bridge pickup, and then when you go onto the other side of the switch, you have to switch the neck pickup to the middle to make it fit in. Hey, Slap and Steph got basses. We'll play some basses so you're not missing out. I'll make you wait for it, but we're going to do it. And I've just got a special mixture of Buckfast and Magnum, seeing as I bought a bottle of Bucky on Friday night, thinking I'm going to can a bottle of Bucky, and I got a bit that into it and then just kind of fell asleep. Oh, Super Chat's not active. I don't know. I didn't do any turning it on or anything like that. Is there not? I've got like a thing at the bottom there. It's got like a sort of dollar symbol. Maybe it doesn't let me press it. It seems to be there for me, but I don't know if if you have to set up to do Super Chat. I have no idea. I set it up a couple of weeks ago, and a couple of folk did it, so it did work. Hey Stephen, how's it going? Yeah, but it's really the neck on this thing. It's what got me immediately. I bought it, but just because it was a really good price, and I thought, Japanese Squier Bullet. It's interesting. It's got funny looking pickups in it. It's got Super Chat's a thing where people can, like, if they've got a really important question, it doesn't really work for me, to be honest. It's more of a sort of donation. But when you've got like hundreds of people all talking expats, and they've got an important question, if you send in like a couple of quid, it comes up on a wee window thing at the top. It says, Scott sent £2 and here's my question. So I'll see it. I don't really know how. I've never done it myself, but it does work, or it was working last week. I haven't changed anything, so if it doesn't work, then boo. But it was great. It worked really well. I'm kind of treading water here till Craig comes on, because Craig super chatted me 50 quid a couple of weeks ago. Yes! It's like 2 months worth of YouTube payments for me, and I won her. So it was working. If it's not, then I don't know. Sorry, I wish I wish it could. Yeah. Aye. So as I was saying, I got this. It was pretty cheap, and the switch was burst. But the guy said if you wiggled it, both pickups worked. So you're thinking the pickups work, so it's just the switch. Looks like I've been to a market in Perth. What would Perth? Why would it be a market in Perth? I've been to Perth. I've been to. There's a record shop in Perth, there was 10 years ago, and I bought the Beastie Boys, the album with the plane, the tail fin of a plane on it. I was up here, like, looked at all the records, got some records. I was walking around, I saw this sort of cool looking guy. Hey, Taylor made music. Good evening. You could have asked a really important question, but that's totally paid for my bucky and the Magnum, actually. Now that I think about it. Brilliant. Cheers. Well, you enjoy your tea tonight, seeing as you were on the booze last night. The thing about when you go on the booze for the second night, always feels fine. It's the following day that you go, oh, I shouldn't have drank 2 nights in a row. Hey, Dow, Squier Strat cost you 15 quid with an amp. These things do happen. You can find them. I've occasionally actually bought a guitar tonight. What is it? It's a Rockstar. It'd been on for half an hour. I'm surprised nobody bought it. It's got a Floyd Rose, and it's kind of sort of like, looks a bit like a Jazzmaster or something like that, and it's gold. 20 quid. So you do the sums in your head. You just think, 20 quid. I mean, I've never done a Buckmaster, Caster, Jazzmaster. Let's see what comes up. And the guys in Clydebank, there's what time's good for you tomorrow? Please don't say 7 a.m. And he's like, I'm early for work at 11, but I can maybe drop it off. And I was all right. Okay, I'm sure I can manage getting to Clydebank for 11. He's like, where is it you work? Springburn. That's only 10 minutes or 50 minutes away. So I'm meeting him at Springburn train station tomorrow at 12. So I can just keep I can just get pissed. I actually, the strength of that has totally, I can feel my face burning up and I'm getting pure excited just through only having drank that much of Magnum and Bucky combined. I might have stumbled across something here. This could be lethal stuff. Who knows what these chemicals are doing? Like there might have a sort of catalyst thing in it. So I'll be talking at 1,000 miles an hour and puking. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I mean, basically, if you're looking, if you do see any of these things, even if you don't want another guitar, and you see like especially a Squier Strat for 15 quid, you do. I mean, I have heard that my pal Dad was up here. The worst guitar he's ever seen was a Squier. There was apparently a couple of years where Squiers were pure atrocious. I've never come across one that's been. I've come across a few that haven't been brilliant. Oh, cheers, Jez! Awesome. I've still not sent you that neck. I was actually thinking today. I was trying to find a nut. I've got this amazing. In fact, I'll show you. A pal Alex came over. He's like, I've got this Explorer. See if you can do anything with it. What's in the box? Da-da-da-da. What's in the box? I know it isn't socks. I can't remember why am I segued onto this? I'm talking about necks. Fantastic looking Explorer, but there's no bolt nut thing on the truss rod. It just seems to be like just the threaded bit. And I went through some of the sort of banana necks I've got, unbolted the bolt and see if it could get to fit, but they all seem to be a completely different size. So I don't really know. It's not a Gibson. It's what did Alex say it was? A Wesley. And it's like another a bad thing about this one. It's a set neck. Because it's like, damn, see if this had just been a bolt neck. That's fine. You've still got an Explorer, you just stick another neck on it. Fantastic. I mean, it looks excellent. I've not played it, but the fact it doesn't have the truss rod thing on it, you're just like, I don't know. So I just say, Alex, I just take the bits off, and it's like one of those things. I don't know. It's like it's too pretty. It's kind of. I think I advise them to basically stick it on eBay and just go for full. And being a bit cynical, at some point maybe someone who thinks they're going to be able to fix it but can't is going to buy it. But I mean, if you're like a U2 fan, but you don't play the guitar, but you've got all the, you know, your box sets and album stuff, that is, the Edge plays one of these, doesn't he? So you can you can just have it as a really nice wall art, and it does look, it looks like a Gibson Explorer. I don't think I couldn't have told you it wasn't one, especially seeing as I can't play it because the strings are hanging off it. So I couldn't, if you'd handed me this and said this is a Gibson Explorer, but you're all right, eh? Cool. And I suppose you can go there and you look. Oh, but it's got the flathead screws on top of the bridge, not a real Gibson. Makes it a fake one. But it seems to be fine. Apart from that, I wish I could tell them. It's one of those things that I really wanted. I thought it'd be a fan. Oh, yeah. I just burst the bag. No, well, I was going to say the bag's quite a good one. I'll try and hammer that back together tomorrow. We'll put this to here. Oh. Oh. But as I was saying, dear Jez, I've got that bass neck. I'm going to send you a few other banana necks as well, just to get rid of them. I don't know what to do with them. Ones that are bent. It's just annoying. No, not Magners. No, Magners is cider. That's normal. This is a, what did I do with the bottle? I've got another one there. This is Magnum, which is a Jamaican tonic wine that you can only get in these wee bottles. It's 16.5%, and it tastes almost exactly like Benelin. That's why I got my pal Peg. Cheers to get me fags and juice last week when I was still locked up, and he just kind of dumped him at the bottom of the drive and then ran away. And I thought, well, it tastes like Benelin. Kind of got a bit of a cough. And the first sip was lovely, and then that was really all I had. It was fine. There we go. Right, here we go. Actually, having coffee. Coffee, get yourself cranked up. I'll regret this tomorrow, especially since I've got to go and get that guitar tomorrow lunchtime. But I'll survive. Usually a 316 UF or a 5mm metric. Yes, Jez, I know it's probably that, but my thought is, why is it missing? Because it's not one of those things. It's not. Well, in saying that, it could have fallen off, couldn't it? But then again, that's what the truss rod cover's there for. I just get the impression it's one of those things that if it's broken, does that mean that somebody was trying to tighten up the truss rod to try and get the neck straight, and the bolt split in half because it doesn't, the truss rod's not correctly set or something? So it's kind of a bit of a risky one. Squier Bullets are going for around 60 to 80 down south. I hope they're not. Because I mean, I considered myself getting this as a complete bargain. I paid a hell of a lot more than that. This is a Japanese one though, so I don't know whether that makes a difference. You get American ones as well that have got a mad like, see this bit of the bridge, the bit that takes the saddles, it's actually part of the scratch plate. So the scratch plate's metal, and it's got like an upturned bit at the bottom with the saddles on it. So it's like the bridge and scratch plate are all one unit. And that's where they got the I think they were using up old Fender pickups. So although they look like humbuckers, what they are actually is two single coils put in below a plastic cover back to back, like two reverse wind ones. So it is, when you've got these buttons are coil splits. So when they are in, you've got proper two single coils. It's not like a humbucker that's been split in half. It's kind of, when you put them into humbucker mode, it does what I do with the coil adder thing, where you add two single coils together to get a single humbucker, rather than the other way around where you've got a humbucker and you disconnect half of it. This is, you've got two single coils, so you can turn them both on or not. I don't know, down south, if you can get one, if you can get one of these for 100, for 200 quid, you're absolutely stealing it. It's fantastic. It's basically exactly the same as my Japanese Fender strap. The neck, the build quality in the neck's identical. It's got a funny wee body and it's got a Telecaster headstock, but it feels the same. One piece of maple. It's got the 7.25 inch radius. It's really nice. As I said, when I went to buy it, it was like, yeah, That's great. As soon as I put my hands on it, I was like, oh no. And the guy's like, what? And I was like, I was going to fix this and sell it, but I'm keeping it. Like without even playing it plugged in, just because the neck's that nice. On the chanty tonight, well, I don't know, maybe stick some bucky in it, and it'll probably be all right. I don't even know what chanty is. It's a type of grape, probably, isn't it? Hey, Craig, you bought a Tokai Thunderbird bass. 140 quid. I don't know. Tokai's a funny one. I've got one Tokai. It's plastic. You get really expensive Tokais. I was actually in Jimmy Egypt's yesterday with Scott. Got a video coming up during the week. And he had some Tokais, and they were like, the price I thought Tokai should be, were sort of £900,000 type thing for. I think they might be Japanese, but I think there's also like Chinese ones, because you see them and it's like pure 150 quid for a Tokai SG, and then it's like, but you see quite a lot of them if you look them up. So I think there's like a Chinese cheapy one that kind of look the same. Not sure, but I mean I'm sure they're still pretty good for 140 quid. Learning some bass with the daughter, so like that. Yeah, Thunderbirds are this size. Something to do with, see the gap between like where the bridge is and the back of the body is huge, and then when you get to the headstock, like the headstock's massive, but the first string, the E string doesn't, the tuner's not to about here. So actually, although the scale length's just usual, it's got like an extra that on the bottom, and then it's got like an extra that between the nut and the first fret and the first tuner, and then it's got an extra bit on top. So the things are just, it's just smashing off door frames all over the place. Good basses though. I had a couple of the Epiphone ones. Never seen a Tokai one. Epiphone Thunderbird Pro 4 bass. Is that the one with the through neck one? Because I saw that. I was in the market looking for a 5-string bass, and one of the things with 5-string is, I'm sorry to offend 5-stringers, they're normally pure ugly. They're normally pure mingers. Basically, all 5-string basses. The only one I really liked was the jazz bass. Kind of looked all right. I actually had a Proton Squier P bass, which kind of looked a bit funny because the neck was wide. So maybe it's just because I've got P basses and I'm used to looking at them, whereas the jazz bass didn't look as weird. But I thought the Thunderbird, the one that's got the through neck on it, the 5-string one, looked absolutely amazing. It was 600 quid or something, but I thought it looked fantastic. Add it in your collection for 6 years. Was it 6 years ago that came out? Oh dear. I remember buying one in Cash Converters in Glasgow for 80 quid, and it had a big chunk out the neck. And then I played it for, I don't know, a week. The thing is, it's one of those ones that my pal who I was in the band with had a Thunderbird. So he already had one. I just thought it was worth more than that, and I stuck it on eBay, and I think I got 120 or 130. This is 10 years ago. So it was still worth doing. So I have technically owned a Thunderbird. Actually, I drew around it and made my Firebird guitar. But if it sits there, I don't know, it's like slapping stuff you're talking about. It's like I've got guitars that I've probably not played for 6 years very much, but you can get another one if you really want one. That's what my main issue is. If I don't really play this very often, right? But if I sold it and then really wanted it back again, I don't know if I'd be able to find one. Same with these. It's like you don't see them on eBay. If you look in completed listings, there's none of them. Definitely none of them in the last 10 years. You maybe see one of them in the last 2 years. You maybe see one of them quite expensive. You'll never see one of them, and you've never see one of them. So it's like, it's not like that. That's kind of why I tend not to keep Squiers and vintage guitars and things like that, even though they're really good, because I know I can get another one if I really try. Maybe pay if you say, okay, maybe pay a bit over the odds for it. So okay, they're maybe worth say Guitar X is worth 150 quid. So I say I'll get 150 quid. If I really, really, really wanted one, I'd be able to find one. If I'm going to pay 200, I could get one. Whereas these ones, it's like, it's finding one. Who knows what you're going to end up playing with? Yeah. If you have a direct line of sight into the truss rod thread, I can send a check rod easier than trying to get a proper nut to start sometimes. Would a check rod be just like a rod that's threaded on the inside sort of thing to see what it is? The thing is as well, it's like, it's not, it's a bit there. So I mean, I had my torch and it stuff. It really, the nut is like, once you put the bolt on the end, it's still going to be, a good 10 mil into the neck. and it's like it's away down here somewhere. I'm sure somebody knows how to fix it. I just don't know how to do it. Or maybe it's to be fair. Actually, I wonder if because it's a Gibson copy. I know Gibson they'll have a slightly different. Already sweating, but I found it. I found this. I found unwashed this Darth Maul face towel. See, yeah. Hey Stephen, how's it going? Yeah, so I mean, maybe it's see if I had like a Gibson one, maybe it's a different diameter. I know they've got different sizes of hex bolt on the bottom of the Gibson. You need like a sort of a special tool just because they're bastards. I don't know. I need to look at. Hey Ravensmead, the guy on YouTube called Trogleys. I know. I've seen it. I'm actually after seeing Trogleys thing. I'm actually in the process of building one. I just keep getting sidetracked. Probably been building it for months. I got a vintage SG. Got the badass bridge. Got the P90s like this, which I'm gonna. They're not. I don't have. Obviously, I didn't buy the John Birch Hyperflux, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to engrave Malco Flux on it, just for cheese values or just cheapy ones. And I've got the proper John Birch pickup rings, so I'm basically going to make a Monkey SG, and instead of being 20 grand, I think they're 10 grand each. I think it was 20 for the two of them. They're a bit mental. Yeah, I kind of like the idea, but I'm actually leaving it. The plan was I was actually, once I've built it, I'm going to take it into the Black Sabbath band after the end. I've already talked to Craig. So I'd fancy do a video and you can play. We'll play, I don't know, War Pigs or something, and he'll use it. See what it does. And I think I might even, just to piss him off, I think I might put like 8s on it and then tune it down to C sharp. Like, you know, the way Tony Iommi did, and watch him suffer. That'll be hilarious. AYO7P, not the easiest name to pronounce out. Yeah, this is a Squier Bullet from 1983, and it's this is the 16th ever Squier. The serial number is SQ00016. So I put a wee asterisk at the 16th ever Squier because they did make a range called the JV series, but they were Fender Squier series made in Japan, made in the same factory as this one, like reissues of previous guitars for like a year. And then this is the first actual Squier model. Hey Vince, I don't recognise your name, but a Euro 50, awesome. So it's a kind of strange one. It's got a really wee body on it. And these are, I've said this before, but these are single coil pickups, like 2 of them back to back, in below these plastic covers. So there's a push button, which makes it either wires them as a humbucker or wires them as a single coil. But it's a fantastic quality guitar. And I think it's the first guitar ever made by Fender Japan. I think the JV were subcontracted out to Fujigen, if you know what I mean. So that they were made for Fender by Fujigen, but when they brought this out, it was actually, they'd done a deal. It's now Fender Japan, it says on the back of the tuners. So it's actually, to be honest, these tuners are absolutely identical. It's the same font as the ones that say Aria Pro 2 on one of my Aria Pro 2s. So I think basically they're Goto units, and they're just basically exactly the same when you buy tuners. When you buy 10,000 tuners off Goto, it's like, what do you want printed in the back? Yeah, along with a thread. Squier Fretless Jazz Bass with a badass bridge. I'm not really sure about a badass bridge is kind of like that idea. It's got like a block on the bottom of it. Is that not a sort of, well, but I know the one you mean, I think. But it's that kind of idea. It's got like a solid block rather than just being a wee, like a flat bent piece of metal like that. It's got like a chunk on it, and it says badass. Yeah. In fact, actually, I know the one, my Schecter has one on it. It's got like, what was I going to say there? Has it got rollers on top of the saddle so you can change the string spacing? Possibly. I need to try have another shot at trying to get a fretless bass. I had one, and I like it. And then I built a 3-neck Flying V, which had like a fretless bass in the middle, when I painted it like the Black Sabbath, the vertical record label, you know, like the swirl thing, the sort of spiral. And that's not really what you want a fretless bass on. You know, it's like, it wasn't like a sort of jazz country fretless type thing. This was like weighed 3/4 of a ton, glowed in the dark, and had like an upside down metal neck, and then it had a fretless bass in the middle, and then the top, I'd never really worked out what to do with it, the top neck. I originally just had it as a sort of, the bottom one as a sort of 2 humbuckers, and then the top was sort of like a Telecaster, and I put Nashville strings on it. Well, basically what I did was I bought 12-string electric strings and put the normal strings on the bottom neck, and then I put all the thin strings on the top neck, so it was still tuned the same, but kind of ringy. A really cool idea. If you're in a band that's got like a couple of folk playing acoustic, or you're the third guitarist, if you do that Nashville tuning thing, it's really cool because all your chord shapes are exactly the same, apart from you're at a much higher register. Oh, the E and the B and the E are the same as a normal set. All the other ones are an octave higher. So it's quite it's fun. It's just not what you want on a 3-neck flying V. Ever tried round wound strings on electric guitar? They're not all round wound. You mean flat wound? Flat wound's different. Like all guitar strings are, or normal electric guitar strings are round wound. I do have a video for it. See if if I can remember what like it's called. It said, yes, sorry, you did mean flat wound. No, I have played a guitar that had flat wound. It was a Hondo Fat Boy, which was kind of like sort of like a Gretsch, sort of like a big 335 type thing at a slightly longer scale on it. It was an amazing guitar. My pal only paid like 150 quid for it. I was like, as soon as I put it, I have to have that. It's pure eye. They go for 500. I'm going to stick it on eBay. I don't pay 500 quid for it, but 150, I would have totally bit his hand off for it. It was the sort of guitar you could expect to put that on. It's like the flat ones. I don't think you're not going to put them on like a spiky guitar or a normal guitar. You're going to put them on like a huge Gretsch or something. And it seemed nice. I was talking to Scott about this yesterday. Actually, my whole thing about being against the flat wound things is my first or second band 20 years ago. I had an Epiphone EBO, and someone said flat wound. So I bought flat wounds. And they weren't really good because the EBO was pure, it's pure dead anyway. So it's like boom, boom, boom. You know, there's no ringing in it whatsoever. And the flat wounds made it even more so. And it's the pickup in it, it's called a mudbucker. It's just, so it really lost it. And then what I noticed was that after, I think I did a couple of gigs with it, and see when they went rusty, because like on a normal bass string, if you look at it and along, if you imagine zooming in, so there's your round wound. So you get round bits like that. It went rusty, but the flat wound one goes like that. Yeah, and see when it went rusty, it got really sharp, as in like totally pure took the skin off my fingers because I'd let it go rusty. I've since played round wounds and they were great. And basically the flat wounds, the reason I haven't bought them is because they're expensive and I'm a cheap bastard. Even though I've got the guy in Blitzkrieg's been very, very nice to me with guitar strings. He's got a Roto Sound, what do you call it, dealership thing. Is that, yeah, so I can maybe get you a couple of sets of bass strings at, shop price plus a wee bit, kind of round it up. But they're you're still talking about 20 quid for a set of bass strings, and it's like, I'm too cheap. I just buy the cheap bastard ones from China. I don't know. I mean, apart from playing bass in the house, the only bass I play in the band, I do it. It's a fly. There's a fly in here, and a wee tiny, really annoying. But I played in the Black Sabbath band, and Geezer Butler had one bass for like the first 5 or 6 Black Sabbath albums, and I saw an interview and he was asking when he changed strings. He's like, he changes strings for every album. So buy strings, do an album, go on tour for a year. Next album, next set of strings, So it's like, you want old battered ones. Depends what it is you're trying to do. I think if you're doing popping and slapping and stuff, but if you're playing Sabbath, you want it to be sludgy and really low. Yeah, sorry, I did mean Jeff. I did mean trade price plus. But even then, strings aren't cheap. It's one of those things as well. See, if I had one bass, which I should have one bass, or I should have 2 basses, because some of the songs are drop C sharp, or not drop C sharp, just the whole guitar's dropped down to C sharp. So I do need 2 basses, so I could do it. But the thing is, I've got 10. and I keep taking new ones every now and again, and I don't know, just not used to it. I have been, I mean, on the electric guitars, I put elixirs on them, and they last. So that's why I can play a guitar that I bought, a year and a half ago, and I haven't played for 6 months, and it's still fine. I tried elixir bass strings once, and they were like £45 a set or something like that, and I didn't like them. It's like some people don't like them because they're sort of rubbery, slimy feely. Which, to be honest, I think it helps with tuning, because the rubbery, slimy thing helps it go through the nut and over the bridge, so they're more likely to stay in tune as well. Plus, they don't go rusty. But on the bass, it was just kind of like pure. I can't remember what I ended up doing with those. I don't know if I still have them. I think I ended up having. I had them on basses and stuff, and I was trying to sell them. And I remember trying to sell a Yamaha bass that I put them on, and I was like, "Yeah, I go sell it for 120 quid." And the guy's like, "I'll give you 100." And it was like, "Well, it's got £45 worth of strings on it." And he's like, "Well, I'll give you 100 if you just take the strings off." So I kept those strings, and they're on something else. I can't remember where they are just now. Fretless guitars, wow. I've not gone that far. In fact, it was you that put me off building a fretless guitar. I was going to put a fretless guitar on the triple neck Flying V. And you're like, but yeah, what you do is you get super glue and put it in the fingerboard. That was you that was talking about that. And it's like, it was like, that sounded like an awful lot of work. Basically, I was just going to put strings on it and hope it worked. I think Tigers. Da-na-na-na-na. I like the name. I like the ABBA song. Awesome. See, ABBA will get back together again, actually. Are they that bad? I used to. It's rubbery and slimy. Yeah, you are on the right channel, of course. It's like everyone's rubbery and slimy. I don't know. I went through a stage of buying, what were they called? Orpheus strings. Because the thing is, it's like, see, when I was like building experiments and stuff, rather than selling a Buckycaster at the start, when I was doing the Buckycaster, was dead cheap because I didn't really know what I was doing. And I was starting with really cheap guitars. So it was like, if I was going to sell a guitar for under 100 quid, I don't really want to spend £7 on the strings. So I was buying these Orpheus strings. I think they were £1 5 a packet. And they were all right. They're basically the same as those Harley Benton ones you can get for like £150 or something. They're all right. It's like, if you're buying a guitar, you're not really buying it because it's got good strings on it, because you're going to change them anyway, and they're fine. What I did find with those Orpheus ones was, see, whenever you put the high E string on and you tuned it up, you would get it sort of close to E, and then you would keep turning it, it would keep going, and then what it was doing was that the ball end was unraveling off the end of the string. So basically, to get round that, what it was doing was, I don't know if the Tiger strings will do the same thing. What you do is, when you open the packet of strings, you first take out the high E, and you put super glue on the bit on the twisted bit before it gets to the ball at the end. Set it to the side, put the other strings on them. By the time you got to the E, that's died, and basically ran it so it won't unwind, because the windings have got super glue on them. I think that the issue with those strings was they just hadn't spun it enough. It's like when how many times you spin it to make it wrap around to take the ball end. It really wasn't very much. Kind of a bit of a cheap way through it. Even give you a high because it'll snap. But does the string snap, or does the ball end come off it? Because if it's the ball end coming off it, then do that thing with just put a blob of super glue onto the actual bit where it's wound. I kind of do the same thing when I'm cheating. See, if I snap a string like somewhere around about there, and I'll just I'll take the back of the ball end of another string, stick that through it, and extend it a little bit. I did that with the piccolo bass, because I wanted a piccolo bass. I didn't want to buy piccolo bass strings, and I didn't want to have to wait for them to arrive either. So I just put guitar strings on it, and the first three were fine, but the G string it actually went into the tuner, but it wasn't enough to get a wrap around it. So I basically just extended it a bit. I did it that way. Hey Chris, I don't know if you've missed anything. You've missed me drinking a mad combination bottle of Buckfast and Magnum. So I might just fly out the window or something, or smash something up. Don't know, or fight. Ravensby just dug out one of my old guitars, mate. He's a Honor headless Steinberger shape. I've got one. It's called B2A, the one I've got. It burns it. Yeah, there's something wrong with it though, and it's like it's got like an active circuit in it, right, which does work. It's got two sort of humbucker pickups in it, But see the cavity in the back, it's pure tiny, and you look in, it's just spaghetti. When you plug it in, it works, but it's like half the volume of a normal bass. Or it's a quarter of the volume of a normal bass when you don't have the active preamp on. And it's just annoying the fact that it works. But so I need to strip it down and then just build it up again. I was thinking there was something wrong with the pickups, but I don't think there's anything wrong with the pickups. I think it's just there's a dodgy wire in there somewhere, and the active circuit does work because it gets louder when you turn it on. So there's something not right about it. But actually, it plays really well for what it is. It's got that lever on the bottom's a godsend, so you can actually sit it on your leg. I just like I've got to get some sort of perversion for it because it's so unbelievably horrible. I always remember me and my pal used to put on back in the video days. I used to have a video, and it was the Kampuchea volcano disaster or something like that, and it's got Pete Townsend on it. It's also got Dave Gilmour like solo. So I think we're talking about mid-80s doing Run Like Hell, and the bass player is like a wee skinny guy, and he's got one of those things, and they're playing Run Like Hell. He's giving it dum dum, da 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 dum dum. It's kind of the way he's kind of standing like a chicken holding this wee horrible thing. We used to always laugh at it. So I've actually got it. Do you have a favourite rock movie? I don't. To be honest, I think I'm a bit of a weirdo. I don't really like. I don't like boxing. I find it really difficult to watch two folk punching each other. Don't know. So I mean, obviously I love the bit where he's running with the hoodie on, playing the music. But to be honest, I don't know if I've ever seen. And also, there's not a training montage in one of them with cheesy music and Dolph Lundgren. I don't know if I've ever seen a Rocky movie all the way through, or I've maybe watched the second half and it was on telly or something. So it's not really going on. Not my thing. And the trem thing, but that was a good idea. The trem on the headless one, because you didn't need the Floyd Rose because it's got ball ends on this end and ball ends on this end, so there's no point in clamping it. And could you not lock the trem solid as well? It's the bass I've got, so I never did it. Oh, Bucky's going down well. I've only been on 45 minutes and I'm already pure steaming. Yes, that's what I get for not having a drink for 2 weeks. The one with the coach dies. I can picture the coach. I probably have seen that actually. Hey, Mr. White, how's it going? What was I going to say to you earlier on? I can't remember. I didn't answer because you started quoting RoboCop things at me, and I just thought I can't do this because I'll be on there all night. Can you fly, Bobby? Like because RoboCop's pure amazing. If it's like which Rocky film compared to RoboCop, none of them. RoboCop. Whoa. I'm going to get that fly. I don't know where it came from. It's really annoying. Hey, Chris, what are active pickups actually do? You want to know the boring answer? Because I actually know. See, right, so you want the pickups really close to the strings, yeah? But there's a magnetic pull which kind of deadens them a little bit. Whereas an active pickup, like not an active boost circuit, an actual active pickup, it's a really, really low-powered pickup, which means you can get it really close to the strings, right? And because it's so low-powered, there's very little interference that comes in, very little noise. You don't get hisses and stuff like that. The only problem is it's not loud enough to hear, so you need to put a battery to boost the signal going through a really, really, really low-powered pickup. That's what an active pickup is. That's the main idea. I've actually got a Schecter with one of the first ever active pickups in it, the first ever EMGs. Actually says EMG and like the size of the pickup letters the same size as the pickup on the top of it, and that was kind of, I don't know if he invented it, but it was that kind of idea. I think Bartoloni and Alembic were into that sort of thing. I don't think I know any Arctic Monkeys songs. No, I'm too old. I remember the Arctic Monkeys coming on and just being like, yeah. I don't know. And I know Deep Purple and Black Sabbath. I don't know any. Too new. Don't know. Working a chicken wing festival. It sounds like a joke, but it sounds amazing. But you get the meat sweats. It sounds amazing. Well, Stephen, I couldn't have told you Buster Mergers was the penguin, but I do remember the penguin, and it's like the funniest part was the fact that it's like, yeah, we're going to make you up. So I really want to get rid of the moustache. So So they just put makeup over his moustache. I do absolutely love the first the original Batman film. It's absolutely hilarious. I remember, was it my brother bought the DVD? And I was like, you turn on the DVD, and it's like, this is when DVDs. I don't know if they first came out, but the first time it was on DVD, and they come up and it said, like, like play movie special features. And I was like, pure, hey Batman, and it's like they got Burt, whatever it is, Burt and Adam West. Is that pure? What's this on the screen? Is that pure? Clever. It seems to be some sort of control menu. Like, yes. And it's like the bit where he's trying to. Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb. Absolutely classic. Still my favorite Batman film. All right, I don't know. I mean, I've never played the Steinberger one, but if you had a Honor one, you wonder if the actual Steinberger graphite one that cost £3,000 did work, but when you make it cheaper, maybe it didn't. I think there's probably a little bit of that. I like the POW symbol you managed to get in if you didn't know how to do that. Where are the tech tips? What football team do I support? I support no football team. I don't like football. I grew up with all my pals been split between Rangers and Celtic and hating each other and fighting, and I just decided, so I actively don't like. I don't mind playing football. I quite enjoy playing. Totally see the fun in playing it. Don't really have any fun watching it. Scotland, there you go. I support Scotland at football. Adam West and Burt Ward, that's right. You put a bass string off eBay. I built one. It's not a bucky one yet. I got a wee is it a 22-inch scale electric guitar, and I bought the rubber strings. Because the thing is, I always meant to buy one when I first saw it. I tried one in Amsterdam when I was there on a stag weekend, not just randomly clapping. I'm going to catch that wee fly at some point. And I thought I played it. It's like a Cala one. And I was like, I'll give you a shot at that. And I thought, this is pure amazing. $34.99. Really? This is like 40 quid. I'll totally buy that. And it was like, the guy went, pulled the label back, and it was $349.99. So it was $349.99. Like, I was totally buying it if it was going to be 40 quid though. Totally. I'm just not seen. I've not seen one since then, and then I thought I was going to try and build one using like a wee nylon string classic guitar, but you need to be lower than a certain scale for it to work. It needs to be lower than 20 inch, I think. And see all the wee nylon string classical guitars you get, they're not actually short scale, they're all 24 and 25 inch scale, just that the bodies are tiny. So, and then the strings were 40 quid, and then I don't know, 3 years ago or something, I saw the strings for like 6 quid. I was like, buy them, and I just never got down to it. And then I got this wee thing, so it's through there. I did a video for it, had it worked. I needed to put an active preamp in it, put that in it, got it all built, working, looked horrible. It's stripped. I'm going to paint it bucky colours. It's going to be a bucky mini bass. It's all ready to go. Shark repellent, yes. Well, we could talk about the early Batman film. It's just fantabulous. The bits up here, yeah. Wasn't it lucky we landed on this mattress factory having an open day display when they crashed the helicopters up here? Yes, I did catch it out the corner of my eye. It's like, right, let's get to the Batmobile. And it's like, no, I think it'll be quicker if we just run, cue the music, and then them just running down Hollywood Boulevard or something like that. I don't think they closed the road or anything like that. So just the two of them running down the middle of the road, and then there's all these folk just standing there like pure, like just doing their shopping. Brilliant film. No politics, no football, just guitars. I've done my football, but I'm not. I got into trouble before for doing politics. I'm not doing that anymore either. Getting used to those strings. It's the fact that they roll, isn't it? So you try because they're pure bendy. You go for a bend, and they roll. So you're kind of like pure. Oh, really, really strange feeling. But after half an hour, you start. It does work. It does work. You do need to modify the way you play, but it can be done. Hi Finn. Hey Pontiac, are you just in? Oh, you're a wee bit late. There's an argument we can have whether it's actually football or soccer. I don't mind that that football argument, because obviously American football, where you hold the ball in your hands and then you throw the ball with your hands to somebody else who catches it with their hands. Football, yeah. Sorry, I don't care. Actually, I found I used to watch American football. It's quite good because you could watch it. There's hundreds of adverts and gaps and stops and stuff like that. So it's like, I don't know how long the game actually lasted, or an hour or something like that, but the actual game lasts 2 hours because there's gaps and stops. It's like pure play, end, right, time for a beer, and then the next bit comes on, which I quite like. It's one of my favourite and least favourite pickup configurations. I don't know if I've got a least favourite. I don't know. I quite like this. Like basically two humbuckers that are coil splittable. That's a nice compromise. I don't know. I think it gives me the excuse to buy another one if it's got something I don't already have. One of my favourites is I had a Yamaha Pacifica, quite an expensive Pacifica, 600 series, and it had a three-way switch, a humbucker on the bridge with a coil split push-pull on it, and a P90 in the neck. That was a really nice combination. Maybe the sort of HSH, because it gets confusing what it is you're actually doing. Mind you, it kind of covers all grounds, and I don't know. It's like, just try not to. Hopefully a stunned a wee bastard. There you go, Taylor. Exactly that. Like I was saying there, the splittable humbucker in the bridge, and whoever said their radius, the flatter the better. I mean, I don't know. No, it's like depends what kind of guitar it is. That was the thing that got me with this, because it's a 7¼ inch. It's a real vintage, and it's got a feel to it because of the guitar it is. Whereas if this guitar was, like a BC Rich Warlock, this neck would not. It's not the right neck for it. It's the right neck for this guitar. Thinking old Fender, country, clean. It's horses for courses, I suppose. Yeah, the bass ukulele does exist, and they're awesome. You're watching American football right now. Great thing with that is you can be doing something else at the same time. Also, what's interesting I found about the format war. If you go back when you used to get my mum and dad bought Betamax video recorder. Back when these things were 500 quid at the time, like, nobody had a video recorder, but we got one, and it was Betamax and VHS. And the reason VHS won, Betamax was better sound, better quality, and cheaper, but they couldn't make tapes long enough to record an American football game, so you only got like an hour and a half tape, which is fine for a film, but an American football game is 2.5 hours or whatever it is. So that was primarily America wanted it so they could record the game when they were working and come home and watch the whole thing. But at the time you put all the adverts and stuff in, you couldn't do it on a Betamax tape. So they went, well, we'll just buy VHS because it's got like the 3-hour tape. So that's why VHS won, even though I think technically on every level VHS sucked compared to Betamax, which was like, I think Betamax was even stereo to start with and all these things. My least favourite would be a telly as a regular single coil on the bridge and a humbucker in the neck. I don't know. It depends. You can put the wrong pickup in. It's like, see if you've got two pickups. I was talking to Blacktooth Fox. Tooth Fox is obviously asleep. I'm not seeing him tonight. As long as they match together, it's like having two pickups where one is twice the volume of the other one is just annoying. But if you've got like a really high powered bridge telly pickup, and then a not so high powered humbucker in the neck, yeah, totally. Whereas if you've got like a mega bucker in the neck and a spindly one in the bridge, you can't, you have to be stomping a pedal or adjust the amp when you change pickups. Kind of doesn't work for me. The clapping basically said Mick Jagger, yeah, totally. Yeah. Well, one of my favourite songs actually, Miss You. I remember my pals putting that on when I was, 16 or 17. Going, have you heard this? This is fucking awful. But, let's have a laugh at this song. Can you believe the Stones did this? And they put on Miss You, and I was like, That's the best song I've ever heard. I'm going to scroll up a little bit. I'm a wee bit. The thing is, it's not a big fly. It's only a wee tiny midgie type thing. Hold on to turn this back. I need to buy Duracell batteries for my keyboards. Like, these cheapy ones just seem to just die. Hockey. I think I went through a stage of watching hockey. I used to like the Hockey Mega Drive game. Catch up. Have I tried? I've actually got a Variax through next door, which I dug out. I can't decide what to do with it. It's a cheap one, the 300s. Before I had the 600. I didn't like it. The 300 for some reason I do like though. I don't know why. They kind of look the same. I was messing about with it, and one of the strings doesn't work. And actually, if you look at the wire coming off one of the saddles, you can see it hanging off. So I'm pretty sure I can solder that back on again. You know, I can physically see why it's not working. That fly is doing my head in. I just saw it fly across the front of the camera, like on the screen, as opposed to. I'll get the wee bastards, and I'll have a wee drink when I do. I'll have a wee drink when I don't, anyway. Oh. Yeah, it was fun. The thing about the Variax one for me was, like, it didn't need to have, like, you know, a 59 Telly and then a 68 Les Paul, and it just goes straight to sitar, banjo, 12-stringer, stupid tune and dobro. That section I found very much fun. The rest of it I could kind of come and go. It's like, I don't know, it's like, it might be different if you're used to using like pedals and stuff all the time. Maybe 90% of the time I'm just basically playing through a wee valve amp, and then or a wee valve amp with some sort of boost pedal to make it distort a bit more. It's kind of all I'm using. So it didn't really sound like I was playing a Telecaster and a Les Paul. It wasn't a huge jump and sound difference when I was playing the guitar. You know, it's like not any more than this, going from, you know, like having single coil on the bridge or make it humbucker on the bridge. It wasn't any more than that. But all the crazy stuff that did appeal to me. I was actually thinking of, I don't know what to do. I was thinking to see, the guitar itself is pretty ugly. I was thinking, see if you put like the Variax shit, they do it now actually, but see if you put that, if I chopped out the Variax shit and stuck it in like a Telecaster or something, I bet you folk would love that idea, especially if you had all the original sounds. So you've got your normal guitar, that's fine, and like a, you know, like a Les Paul 3-way switch that puts it onto silly sounds, well, the banjos and all that stuff. Good fun. Betamax is, well, it is okay. It probably still is superior, but I think if a fly took a sip of that bucket, it'd be dead, and there would be no more problems. Oh, there's a Marlin Sidewinder down here for 70. Is that good? Mine sucked. It was. No, they're not good guitars. That was one of the first guitars. My pal, one of his first guitars, and it's like, I think they were a huge thing at the time, because back then, you know, if you're talking about late 80s, you could buy a guitar for £100 that worked. And before that, you couldn't really do that. You know, you buy we're kind of spoiled now, because we can go into town just now and maybe, well, okay, £100, your Clancy, Glary, whatever they're coming at that, and you're getting a guitar that actually is a guitar. Whereas if you go back to the 80s, you could buy guitars that, even brand spanking new, physically there's no way it could ever work because it was a stupid design. So the bridge wasn't in the right place. You know, the tuners were made of chewing gum, the frets were made of sponges. You know, it basically was, it looks like a guitar, but isn't actually one. So for the price at the time, yes, but they don't. I've never really played a Marlin that was really good. They did have sort of slightly higher range. My pal's got one as I think he sold it, a state of the art series, things like that, which are maybe, instead of being £100 or maybe 150, but they're still not great. But that's where it comes into something like, see, like a cheap bridge. There's not an awful lot in a bridge if it's quite basic. So it probably worked fine for 5 years, but see, once it starts rusting, because it's made of really thin, cheap metal, and if you're going to bend it and stuff, they just break. So it's not like, okay, it's like, you know, the idea of having, a Telecaster, nice and simple, nothing can go wrong with that. And it's like, yeah, that's because they made it out of metal, not out of Weetabix, or, you know, like painted lead. It's actually made of metal, so it will last. There's an element of it. Playing lead and rhythm at the same time is way easier. And well, I can see your point. Possibly, yeah. Possibly, and I think that the idea is, you know, I know you get, is it compound radius fretboards? So it's meant to be easier, better for chords having the curved, you know, better for your chords down here having the tight, but when you're up here, you want it to be flat so you can get the action lower for going. So you get, it was a big thing in the 80s. I need to have a look. I bet you I've got guitars that are compound radius. You know, it's like 7¼ inch here and 12-inch here. So it's like, it's flat here and curved here. Yeah. Is Drosophila? It won't live long. I don't know what Drosophila is. Is that a midgie? I was like, the age-old argument is, they're called gnats down south, but they don't get very many up here. They're called midges. But is it one midge? I can still. You wee bastard. I would have noticed if it had been in all day, because it's so small. If it had been like a proper fly, I would have killed it by now, but I just can't see it. The fly's totally winning. I mean, it's already won. It's annoyed me for longer than what its life is going to be. Japanese Fender Telly Bullet or Facebook Marketplace. Sorry. Fucking fly. Ooh! Yeah. Japanese Fender Telly Bullet and Facebook Marketplace, $1,000. That's more like it. Not the 60 to 80 pounds someone said earlier on. Don't get them for 60 to 80 pounds. Yeah, so it could be. Well, there is I think there's a couple of models. There's one which actually looks a bit better. Has the Telly one not got a Strat headstock? I think the Telly one has Strat pickups and a Strat headstock, whereas the Stratty one has a Telly headstock and sort of Telly-ish pickups, even though they're both humbuckers. But the thing about this is, though, it's almost mint condition. Okay, there's a couple of dents on it, but see, like scuffs and stuff like that. There's nothing. It doesn't look, unless if I didn't know this was 1983, you would go, this is a year old, and you'd be like, yep, totally. It just looks. Look at it. It looks absolutely spanking new. It's sold for $400. That's actually more than I paid for it. I would think it was probably I don't know when you convert it over. I was thinking I'd probably get 500 quid for it, £500. I think. I don't know. It's one of those ones that it's on my, if I get in problems, this is going before a lot of the other ones I've got are going. Because it's a Squier, it's worth more money. I've got other guitars made in the same factory that are better quality. In fact, I've got my Casio MIDI guitar. It's a Fuji Gen 86. It's a couple of years later than this. It's a Strat. It's got a pointy headstock, unfortunately. It's not worth anything like as much money as this, but it's a full-blown Strat, and it's got a MIDI pickup and MIDI converter, so you can just plug it into any synth. But even if you ignore all the synth things, it's still a bona fide 1986 Fuji Gen built Fender Japan Strat. But you see them all the time for 200-300 quid. It's a total sleeper. Even if you just ignore the digitally stuff in it, even if you just use it, it's got a tuner in it. Oh, what's your favourite guitar? Well, I think tonight was going to be Yamaki night, which is it's gone out of the way. But I'm going to show you this. My pal Wayne suggested this. Why don't you annoy everyone of the PRS fan club? It's like, here's my annoyance to the PRS fan club. This is a Washburn Falcon from 1980, and I just love showing it off. It's neck through, solid ash body, Like things like wooden, like matching wooden cover. Look at the fret markers. They've got brass rings on an ebony fingerboard, wooden truss rod cover. These aren't the original tuners, they're Grovers. Ibanez Super 70 pickups, push-pull pots. This bridge is brass saddles. It clamps the saddles once you set your intonation. It's got Allen keys that clamp it down. It's through strung, and that is an inch thick solid rosewood top. This guitar, if they could make it just now, would be $5,000, something like that. I just love showing this off to folk who, it's like, you know, if you've got your Gibson Les Paul and stuff like that, this is a different league. It took me ages to learn to play it, because I really didn't feel that I was worthy of it. It's not a forgiving guitar. It's like if you make a mistake, it tells you, it goes, "Oi, you're not playing this right." You'll notice that the volume's about 4 times the volume of that as well. Well, that's in the clean channel. You can split it down. This is, it's not my favourite to play. It's my favourite to show off. It's like if you ever want to knock someone down a couple of pegs, it's like, look at it. Look. Now, no veneer here, you know. Inch thick slab, hand carved top. Fantastic thing. But I mean, it depends. It's probably not my favourite guitar, but it's just because I actually had it hanging on the wall. I thought that's it. Actually, to be totally fair, if anyone asked me my favourite guitar, I decided what I was going to say is that one there, which is an 8-string bass, which is basically, it's kind of this. It's got the ebony fingerboard, the brass and the through neck and the fancy top and all that, but it's an 8-string bass. Live in the desert, few bugs. But you get snakes and scorpions. We don't get that here. We just get midges. And the good thing about here is like nothing bites. Okay, we get wasps, they sting, but you can't get diseases and all that. When the first time I went to China, Civet's happened. Oh, heard a mosquito. And I was like, oh, didn't even know you got mosquitoes. I was lying in bed and then I heard it. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to sleep. But this is like terrifying that you can hear the thing. Horrible one. Hey, young Sneds. That's quite a mod Who type thing. I've never been to a desert. I think I would just die almost immediately in a desert. I mean, I struggle when it's hot here. And like to be honest, see anything over 20 degrees in Scotland, there's folk, the pavements are melting, there's folk just lying in the gutter dying when it's that hot. We've got no temperature range really. I mean, basically it's in the winter, it's like, I don't know. Okay, it does go below zero sometimes, you know, I don't know, maybe sort of -5 to 10 is the winter temperature, and the summer temperature is sort of 12 to 20. That's it, which is great for guitars. We don't have the problems of frets popping out guitars and all that, because we don't have, and there's no such thing as humidity in Scotland. I still don't fully understand what it is. I do know that when I went to China, my hair went from humidity, which is never done before. It never really recovered. Can't believe that fly's still alive. It's obviously having a great time. That was the same bridge as Deon Savage. Yes, well, I didn't know you're a Deon. I can't get Deons. I would have bought one. Deon's the same company. It's made by Yamaki. Is this which one's the Savage? It's the Barbarian, the cheap one. Is the Savage the one that looks? There's one that looks almost identical to this, apart from this horn is a bit longer, and it's got the pickup selector here. But apart from that, it's pretty much this guitar. They're amazing. I don't know what the Negra are. Oh, sorry, you said it's Yamaki. You're quite right. It is Yamaki, and so is this. This was my Yamaki Night, because that's obviously the bass version. Well, that's the bass version of the Hawk. This is the Falcon. That's the Stage Series bass 8-string Yamaki. That's the Stage Series A20 guitar built by Yamaki. The Force Series, we just don't know. I think it is, though. It's kind of a bit more Fendery. I think that's kind of all the Yamaki Washburns. They did do acoustics as well, but the electric range is kind of wing, force, and stage. That's why I've got 2 wings, 2 force, and 2 stages on the wall. I saw somebody say, are all good guitars expensive? No. That's my mantra. It's like, see, a guitar like that, not expensive at all, better than anything you can buy for $1,000 just now, and it costs, I don't know. I'm going to try and get like a couple £100 for it. I might be pushing it a little bit. I'm not sure you'll get that sort of thing. But no, if you know what it is you're looking for, they're not expensive. Even this, even though they've doubled in price since I bought mine, tripled in price since I've got mine, this is still cheaper than a Les Paul Studio, especially a new Les Paul Studio. Talking about like a used Les Paul Studio, this is still cheaper than it. And the thing is, at the time, see if you go back to 1980, whatever, you could buy a Les Paul for about the same price as this. That Les Paul now is worth $2 or $3 because it's a Gibson Les Paul, but it was still made of plywood and not highly regarded by musicians at the time because it was a bit shit. This was amazing, cost the same amount of money. Now it's not worth anything because it's a Washburn. Oh, it's not a Gibson. It's got to be a Gibson. The fact that it says Gibson on it's worth £1,000 or $1,000, something like that, just because people know what they are. I would have thought the target was REF, but I mean, I just see that and think the Who Quadrophenia, which I actually saw in fact, I used to have the poster on my wall years ago I saw them in Wembley in 1997. I went down and it was actually on a building. I spent, I'm talking 10 minutes peeling this bastard off the wall, and I got right down to about that to go, and it frayed. So I peeled another one from the bottom, spent 5 minutes getting it, and I sellotaped them together. So I actually got, it basically just says the Who Wembley Arena, whatever the date was, with a big REF symbol on my wall. Oh. I don't know if the Who stole it from REF. I think the Mods stole it from REF. But the Mods not like long before, because Quadrophenia is like 75 or something, where they're talking about something that happened in the mid-60s. I don't know. The Savage is something out of Star Trek. Is this the Savage? Isn't the one that's got the big scoop there? Is it? That's a Headhunter. Have you ever seen a day on Headhunter? It's like a 335. Apart from the bottom, it kind of comes in. That looks stunning. But I don't think they ever sold them in the UK. You seem to have sold them in America, and you can get them in Canada. I think that's. That was more Michael Jackson than Mick Jagger. It's like, I find it quite offensive being called Mick Jagger, very offensive being called Michael Jackson, so I'd much rather do Mick Jagger. Hey Bob, pour it in. I'm getting stuck into it. Cheers for the bottle of bucky that you're giving me for next week. That'll be awesome. I would play a Crackle guitar, which I've not actually put the video out for yet, but I decided to myself I was not going to play other people's guitars when I was steaming, because that's when I'm going to drop it and break it. Whereas like, okay, this is very expensive and stuff like that, but it's my fault if I break it. Whereas if I broke somebody else's, what am I going to do? Hey Buster, I've got some basses out. Actually, I was going to send you a thing last night. It was 1 a.m, so I figured that I didn't want to wake you up with it, but it was a Hondo double cut black Hondo. Yeah, you know the double cut bass I've got. It's kind of like kind of almost this shape, P bass pickup, just plain black, and it was at £100, and it went today at lunchtime for 120 or something like that. Belter of a bass. I know you're not looking for more basses, but you would have liked that one. It was good. The thing that put me down, the headstock had been sanded, so it didn't have the logo on it, which seems a wee bit of a shame. Looking at G&L, wide range American ones and Asian ones. I I like the look of the G&Ls. One thing that I wasn't impressed, my pal Ian's got one, and I upgraded the pickups in it. The pickups I've actually got, I was talking about them the other day, talking about the P90s. I know it doesn't make any difference to the sound of the guitar, right? But I wasn't that impressed with the routing. See, when you took the... Did it have a scratch plate on it? It was a telly. It can't have a scratch plate. Was it that guitar? It wasn't that neat. See, when you took the covers off the pickups, it was like a wee bit afraid and stuff. When if you look inside a Japanese guitar, you can eat your dinner off it. It's beautiful when you take it. Obviously, it's covered up with pickup rings and stuff, but in below that, it just looks stunning. It didn't look that good. Had amazing pickups in it, which he gave me. Really good. Buy guitars, the name in the headstock. We'll pay top dollar. Quite right. One of my favourite ones is Phil, because it says Phil on the headstock. And I always regret not buying. My pal Aaron was selling there's a brand called Edwards, a Japanese brand, make Les Pauls that are quite expensive, but they've got like their own Epiphone equivalent, sort of like a cheapie. It was like a sort of bolt-on, kind of looked something like an Epiphone Les Paul, the bolt-on neck one, and it said Brian by Edwards. So it's like a Brian guitar. I'd buy that just for the fact it says Brian on the headstock. The Who stole it. I was an American mod revivalist in '79 when Quadrophenia came out. Was it? Oh, the film came out in '79, the album '74 though. The Who weren't real mods. I don't know if they ever really said they were, sort of. The Small Faces, well, yeah, I think there was more moddy than that. The Small Faces, I mean, if you don't know the Small Faces, they just got screwed by record companies. They got nothing. They ended up in so much debt. But if you've never heard the album Odd Guns Not Gone Flake, it's an absolute belter. And I think they would have done so much more stuff and so much more amazing stuff if they'd actually not just been completely fucked by record companies and stuff like that. But Odd Guns Not Gone Flake's a belter. Try and look that out. Yes, Buster gave me a shot of his of his bass ukulele, and that was kind of after I had a shot one for a few days. I didn't like it. Oh, you bought the EB3? I saw that earlier on today, actually, the EB3. Hey, front row guitars, can I do refrets? I've never tried one yet. I can do fret level and fret polish and stuff like that. It's one of those things that I don't know. It's like if you're going to, I don't know, if you're going to get a refret done, as long as you can take the frets out, I suppose, without mangling it, it's going to. I don't know. Is it cheaper to go if you take it? Say you're going into like a guitar shop, it's going to cost you a couple £100 to get a refret. I think it might be a bit more than that now, but $250 these days. Is it going to cost less if you've already taken the frets out? So I mean, I don't know. See, my thing is, I kind of want to find the right guitar to refret, because I don't want to do a really expensive guitar and make a mess of it. But equally, there's no point in doing a guitar that I've just refretted it. It's great. How much is it worth now? £100, right? It's kind of not worth it. So I've got to find the right one. I don't really know anything about mods. I think, to be honest, if it came to mods and rockers, I'm a rocker, haven't I? I did quite like the film. I like the album better. The film, I don't know. It was fun. I remember me and my pal Steve, we're going back. I was what 16, 17. Me and my pal Steve used to we'd all be walking about the streets at night, drinking, smoking weed. You know, it's like there's nowhere to go. And there was this old guy who had like a moped, not really a Vespa, more of a sort of shopping bike thing. And every time we saw him, we kept seeing him everywhere we were going. We'd always go, "We are the mods," and shout at him. And he would be and eventually got to the point where this poor old guy would see us. And you could see him, and he would turn around and go the other way and go. I felt really bad about that. We weren't going to do anything. All we were doing was shouting, "We are the mods," because it was because we were watching Quadrophenia. As you say, cheaper to get done. The well miss Charlie Watts. It's a shame. See, Alan Lancaster died today, partly as well. He's the wee bass player from Status Quo. Another shame. It's just going to happen all the time. Everyone's going to die now. All the classics. No, we're still. Have you tried cracking guitar lacquer to get a relic look? No, I've never done. I tell a lie. I did actually do a relic once. I sold the guitar to my pal Ronnie. It was a turquoise Strat, and it had something spilt on it, which kind of made it go sort of grey here. But the rest of the guitar looked really good. But it was like it was in a really good color. It just kind of looked really bad because something spilt on it. So I thought, right, well, if I chip it and dent it and stuff, do the relic thing, it'll look good. And I physically did actually take the guitar board, took the thing to bits, and then kicked it down the middle of my street. And it's like, my God, I live in a really wee quiet village. And kicking a guitar body down the middle of the street, I mean, I could just see all the net curtains twitching. And I was just like, you know, what's that I do with the guitars? I'm kind of running down the middle of the street going, dragging. It's like, yeah. So I did try it once. I would never, ever, 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 ever relic a guitar for myself. So why would I? All the guitars I've got are relic because they are 30, 40 years old. So I mean, this one, you could argue it's relict. I don't really have any. I'm sure it's got a few dents. These are actual dents, not artificial ones. It'd be worth more money if it wasn't relics. I can understand why people do it. Mark Bolan? Was a mod? Really? Oh, okay. I remember his. I can think of his haircut. Possibly, I don't know. I mean, I think, to be honest, if I was about at the time, the mods were all about buying expensive clothes and stuff like that, whereas the rockers would just wear smelly jeans and leather jackets, and it's like, I'm going to be the smelly jeans and leather jackets guy. I'm not that I particularly like Bebop Balula and the rock thing more than the mod's music. Well, I don't know. The mod was all kind of, it was your Motown, really, wasn't it? I don't know. Charlie, what's the original mod? I should probably look up, see what mods actually were. But I mean, the ultimate point was mods are people who were into the fancy clothes and the dressing up and the having nice hair and shit. That's just that. I would never be in that scene. Not that I didn't like the music. I like all that stuff. Give us a tune on this. Oh, I don't know. I'll try and lower the volume on it a bit. I see a bad moon rising. I see the trouble up ahead. I feel we're in for nasty weather. I feel we're going. Don't go out tonight. It's fun to make it up. There's a bad moon on the rise. So that's how far I get. We play that in the band. It's so difficult to remember. What's it? I did that because John Fogerty played one of these in all of the 80s because it was the best guitar he'd ever played. He found it in a pawn shop in about 1983 or 1984. Didn't know anything about it and could never find another one, but he used it for like the whole of the 80s until as the fans kept complaining because he's an American dream, he's an American idol, and he's playing a Japanese guitar, and his answer was, no, Washburn are like an old American company. But your guitar isn't, mate. So he had to retire it just because you're John Fogerty, you're the American dream, you have to play an American guitar, so he wasn't allowed to play it, really. But you do see, if you look him up, he is playing, and it's basically this one. And that's what I'd already bought this before I knew that. It was actually one of my pals. I think it was Wayne's up here. But I bought it. It's up here. I bought it. It's amazing. You'll love it. It's up here. Oh, that John Fogerty. And it's like, John Fogerty? What? So they showed me a picture. Like, he played one as well. Wow. And it's not like if you buy an Eric Clapton signature guitar or a Brian May signature guitar, you buy one that's been made to be like the guitar they had, but it's obviously not as good as the real one. You know, it's not. This is just the same one off the same factory run as John Fogerty's one. Obviously, this is very, very different. Mine's got like I always think that looks like a thumbprint, big thumbprint on it. They all look completely different because it's such figured rosewood, but it's the same guitar. It's not one to be like. It's not a replica. It's not like your Monkey Tony Iommi SG replica of. It's the same one. Yeah. Where are we going here? Where are we going? I've got it behind. Brian May's never really fretted his guitar. No, I've actually seen that guitar live. The original Red Special. I saw him playing with Adam Lambert in Glasgow. He was playing a Red Special, and he came out with that one. And see, when the light hit off it, it was so unbelievably scuffed. And he was for the whole thing. He was like, "That bottom girls." Because I almost had an intermittent switch or something like that, but he played it. I only played it for one song, and it was like it was trying to turn on the pickup or something. It was just a bit shit. Everyone knows Brian May made the guitar. It was an old fireplace, and it's got bits of a washing machine in it, and all these things. Yeah. Popular culture is disappearing to be replaced with Ed Sheeran and other such streets of pitch. I'm afraid I don't really watch. I don't know enough about Ed Sheeran to hate him. I know he was in Game of Thrones. I thought he was quite funny. And I remember a comedy show. Oh, I can't remember what it was. Where they were, they kind of, it was like, Ed Sheeran wasn't in it, but it was somebody dressed as Ed Sheeran. And they were like kind of in the woods going on. We've set up this camera trap, and Ed Sheeran was like a badger. And he would they would have a camera, like one of your, with a trip sensor on it, and it would show you, he would come out from in below the trees, and you would see the wee ginger guy, and he was like up here, and then he would run away and hide and stuff. I can't remember that. Yeah, Buster. No, you give the. I didn't like that U-bass. I think it's all to do with just the East End and a couple of Vespa scooters. Well, my dad had a Vespa scooter. Ginger's no good. See, that's the old thing about the old racism thing. It's like, yeah, racism is wrong. Racism is totally wrong. You can't be racist. Ginger people, you can fucking hate them. That's fine, because it's kind of like a pure joke. It doesn't really seem to. I don't know. It's like, it must be terrible being ginger, because you just get so much abuse all the time. But it's all kind of meant to be funny, because nobody really hates ginger folk. You can't. They're just people. But then again, I suppose you can go, how can you hate black people? They're just people as well. It's like, I don't know. But I do think being gingerist is racist, though. It's funny, though, but it's not. I don't know. I didn't think he was that bad. I thought he was quite impressive. The way he wrote songs with the loop pedal, because I've tried to do stuff with the loop pedal, but it's like such a limitation of what it is you can do with the loop pedal. So he's written songs knowing that it was going to be done on a loop pedal. It's really clever. That's why whenever I'm watching him do stuff, I never really see him playing in a band. He's always playing with that loop pedal. It's like, that's clever. Oh, so he's done that, and he's made the chorus. Oh, right. Oh, it's very. So for that, like him. But in saying that, never get subjected to very much. I've never had to listen to more than 2 songs in a row or something like that. I think that's where my hatred for things like Oasis come out so much, because I was subjected to entire albums of it hundreds of times. So I ended up fucking hating it. Whereas something like even Coldplay and like that, it's like, I don't like it, but I don't really have any. There's lots of music I probably don't like, but I've not had to listen to tons of it, so it doesn't. My hatred level is just kind of here. Yeah, so that's fine. It's like my hatred level. There we go. Whereas like hatred level is something you've had to listen to 100 times. But when the anger really comes in. One man novelty acts. Well, I don't know. Don't knock it. I don't know. I was going to say, Buster, actually, there was a problem with your one, and I was up here. I've kind of sorted it, and you were up here. Did you? It was up here, and you kind of looked at me, and I was like, I just fucking stuck a big tie wrap. I've never even trimmed it. Just a tie wrap in below the saddle to raise the strings up a bit, and it was like, not really that impressed with that fix, but it did make it play, but it wasn't really that much fun. All right, Sneds. I don't know who Sneds is. Oh, I saw Sneds a minute ago. Yeah, so I'm getting caught up. If you really want me to talk about something, maybe you can super chat me a couple of folk. Jez and oh god, I can't remember who the other person. Taylor. Super chatted me earlier on. You can get like a thing, and I'll definitely talk about it. I'm just kind of rabbiting on, and I'm pretty steaming now, and I'm an hour and a half, and I'm halfway through my Bucknum Magfast Bucknum, I think. I was like, say, because I talk to Civet all the time, my girlfriend, saying the Bucky guitars, that pair, so you're getting a bottle of Bucky Fast tonight, because obviously she just assumes that it's Bucky Fast, not. And I've never ever corrected her because I think that's awesome. I kind of prefer Bucky Fast to Buck Fast. What do you think about Kane West? I'll be totally honest, I know nothing. I know what he looks like. I know that he's claimed to be the best songwriter in the world ever. I've never really heard any of his stuff. We're now into the... Once it got to a certain point, I think it's when I was like 16, 17, 18, or like my formative years, I had to watch telly, I had to listen to the radio. But now, once DVDs and records and shit came out, I didn't have to listen to any of that stuff. And I'd managed to get the right pals. Not that anyone ever really liked Black Sabbath, but they would tolerate it. And we would listen to The Who and the Beatles and the Stones and all that kind of era. And occasionally I would manage to sneak on a little bit of Manowar or something just to annoy everyone. And then there was obviously on the other side, they would get their own back by putting on like Primal Scream or Stone Roses or Oasis. Although they did stop with Oasis because I used to just it got to the point where I didn't actually have to say anything. I would just sit there and go blue and then go home. So they would basically only put on Oasis for 1 or 2 songs until I looked like I was going to puke, and then they would put something else on. Queen at the Apollo in 78 second song, Burst a String. Wow. I never saw Queen. I saw Queen featuring Adam Lambert, and it was amazing. It was like, I know there's hundreds of good Queen songs. Obviously, there's lots of them. The Queen Greatest Hits 1 is just wall-to-wall bangers, but it's when you're at the gig and you're already reeling from the fact you've just heard, I don't know, fucking Don't Stop Me Now and Another One Bites the Dust and Fat Bottom Girls, and you're like, right, okay. And then they come out with the sort of lesser Pure Amazing ones, and it's still pure. Oh my God, it's better and better. Amazing. Fantastic. Even the songs I don't like, which there weren't, but there are not really that many Queen ones I didn't like. And Adam Lambert was hilarious. He was doubly camp as I had no idea who he was. I know he was in X Factor or whatever it was, but fantastic. And I got to see Brian May, and I was like looking at Brian May and going, up here, I'm really disappointed. He's only played through 3 Voxes. I thought he played through 9. My pal G's like that pulled me to the side. And it's like, all right, okay, I can see the other 6 now. So he did have like 3 Voxes that I could see because of where the stage was, pointing this way, 3 pointing that way, and then 3 pointing forward. So you've got to see Brian May. You need to see the Red Special. You need to see 9 Vox amps up at full bung, and we were right at the front. And amazing, really enjoyed it. I wonder who's good tunes, but you can't put a poster on your wall as he looks like a douche. Alan Lancaster? No, it wouldn't. That wouldn't be Kane West either. I genuinely don't even know. I don't know anything he's ever done. Maybe I've heard it, but I don't know. Hey, Malcolm Horton, who do you think's the best living blues guitarist? Oh God, it's not Eric Clapton because he was shit. I don't know. I'm not really a bluesy. I don't really like the blues. When it comes to there's different types of blues. Maybe I don't like sort of, especially when it's got a dodgy input. I don't like that. So even if they play that really, really, really well, the Led Zeppelin songs like Since You've Been, I don't like that. So I mean, for me, blues has to be a bit more exciting. Even then, I kind of like to run through it. I don't know. I'm not a blues fan, even though I know most of the music I probably like is the blues. The Stones are arguably blues. I don't like the Midnight Rambler. I don't know who the best blues guitarist alive is. I really enjoyed C6 Steve. He's a blues guitarist. I've seen him. I didn't enjoy his record when I got home, but I enjoyed him live. Hip hop is 48 years old. Really? I suppose it really boils down to I'm not really that sure what hip hop is. I don't know what hip hop is. I use a twin note fuzz all the flipping time. I have heard 2 of my pals bought it and thought it was absolutely shit though. I was like, all right, and it's like, up here, yeah, it sounded really good in your video, but when I got it, I couldn't get in out at all. It's like, I love it. For me, it's like it's a total Sabbath pedal. That's not a Sabbath pedal. Oh, is the fly still here? I've not seen it for a while, but I think, to be fair, I'm getting a wee bit drunk now, so maybe I'm kind of disfocusing a little bit. I've just decided just to ignore it. Steve G, yeah, I would agree that Gary Moore is one of the greatest thingy, but it was living. I'm afraid he's dead. You saw Randy Rhoads, well, but I think Randy. Right, well, I was alive when Randy Rhoads died, but only just. I don't think Buster does have an upright. I had a shot of an upright, and it's quite an experience. My pal Steph, who I got my Telecaster off, one time I was around at his house, and he's like, you want to see something funny? He went into another room in his house, and he's like, I've got an upright bass. Like, oh, really? Well, I've never seen one of them. I played a cello and stuff. And he's like, right. So we went into the other room, and he picked it up, and it was like, see, as soon as he picked it up, the whole room became really small. I was looking at the door frame and going, is that like a really small window? Is that like a really small table you've got there? And it was like, so I have a wee shot of it, and it was like, all right, okay, give it. It's a way over here. You know, you think of, oh, look, playing upright bass. No, it's about a foot thick, and it's like you're nuts. I mean, it sounded sort of good. I tried to play NIB or something on it, but it really was mental how big it is. Like pure comedy big. Like you see it from it was at the other side of the room, so maybe I don't know 5 steps away. Like, oh, it looks really, really big, and it just gets bigger and bigger, and you're like, this is just insane. It's mental. Mental. I don't know who Robert Cray is. I recognise the name. Yes, Daniel, I know Lancaster was the original bass player. I saw Quo a couple of times, like, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago. And then I saw them when they did some sort of reunion back to where they had, is it Coughlin on drums? So it was just the 4 of them. And I couldn't believe how much Lancaster was part of the band. Like, when they were doing the other couple, the sort of the 80s, 90s, 2000s status quo, you've got Parfit Rossi, and some band behind them. Whereas when Lancaster, it was very much the 3 of them, and they were equally doing the singing, and it was really, really good. I really enjoyed it, even though I didn't really know an awful lot of the songs they played, but I mean, it was fantastic. He's also about that size, because you see him with what's that really big bass he's playing? It's a Music Master, which is this size. Well, it was really bizarre seeing them on that tour. So that's only. Yeah. Hey, Nate Sheffield 111. Catchy name. What's the first Sabbath song I learned? I want to tell you the first thing I ever played on a guitar ever was. And it was like, oh my God, because someone left their guitar and a distortion pedal and their Black Sabbath book round at my house. And I couldn't believe that all my pals had all been playing the guitar for a year. They were all playing, was it Stand By Me? That's all I ever heard. And then it was like the first time I ever picked up a guitar. I looked and worked out what tab was just by looking at it. And I went. But the first one I could ever play all the way through was. Now I know what key it is because I played in the band and it wasn't the original key. It was Tomorrow's Dream was the first song I could play all the way through because the solo was. Tomorrow day bring which is fun. That was the first song I could play all the way through because the solo was acceptable. The thing is, I didn't want to play. I didn't play guitar for like a whole year when all my pals were learning because I didn't want to be able to play 1, 2, buckle my shoe and whatever else they were learning. You know, like, oh, so I learned playing Sabbath, and then after that, you start going, oh, a whole lot of love, da, 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 da. Immediately straight into that, and the fact that it actually sounded a bit like it immediately was just mind blowing. So that was when I was, I don't know, 17 or something. Hey Scott, you still here? Is this you on a break from whatever it is you're watching? I don't know who Eric Gales is. Oh, I'm getting a wee bit behind now. Oh, a wee bit behind. There it goes. When I lived in America, I had the misfortune of seeing Pearl Jam twice. I don't really know Pearl Jam. I do remember, we're talking going back, I was definitely at school getting a cassette and someone gave me Pearl Jam 10. So, oh, you like Nirvana? You'll like this. It was like, I don't even remember it. I'm sure there's a couple of songs. I think there is a song that I know that I can't remember what it goes like now here at the radio. Never really got it. John Mayer. I don't know. I've seen the Andertons guys talking about John Mayer all the time. Never really listened to it. Fly is still alive. The little bastard. I do actually have a Fly swat somewhere. Well, it's a bit campy pink, but I might. If you're ever trying to kill a fly, by the way, rather than using a rolled up newspaper, see if you actually go and invest in the pound shop and buying 2 or 3 of these for £1. Because they've got holes in them, they don't push the fly away when you hit it. So I'm just going to sit here and wait for him, the little bastard. Samantha Fish. Yeah. Oh, don't Electric Caveman, don't mention Stephen Ray Vaughan. I'm not joking. Every month I get a pure bastard comment on YouTube because I did a video of a guitar that I made that was it was beat up anyway. I didn't relic it, and I was like, it's kind of like the Stevie Ray Vaughan thing. And I said, I don't really get Stevie Ray Vaughan. I can listen to it. I don't really understand. I don't like blues music, right? So I don't like Gary Moore playing the blues. I never really thought enough of Gary Moore, but then when you hear Nuclear Attack and all that, yes, fuck that, brilliant. The blues stuff, I don't like blues. So I said in this guitar that looks like Stevie Ray Vaughan's, I was like, yeah, I kind of don't get Stevie Ray Vaughan. And every month I get abuse from someone going, and you say you don't like Stevie Ray Vaughan, and then I heard you play, and you're pure shit. You're not worthy of licking the floor near him. And you're just like, oh, but look, it's a personal choice thing. I do understand that maybe he is really good. I don't see it because I don't like blues as a blues thing. And obviously, there's some blues songs a big difference. Someone actually said to me yesterday the absolute opposite. You remind me of Rory Gallagher. And I thought, well, yeah, similar haircut. I suppose I kind of look a bit like him. I just wish it was the guitar playing. And he went, no, I meant the guitar playing. It's like, no, I refute that totally because I think I don't really know that much about Rory Gallagher, but yes, he's blues, but he's really exciting and interesting for me watching Rory Gallagher play anything because it's just he's amazing. And it is blues, but it's really exciting. Whereas when I see Stevie Ray Vaughan playing it, it's blues, but it's boring, it's fast and it's loud, but just not my thing. And it's like, there is a personal taste thing. You can't like what everyone else does. And I'm sorry, I just don't get it. Maybe one day, it's just not happened yet, I will hear a song somewhere and I'll go, that's fucking amazing. Stevie Ray Vaughan, right, now I get it. It's just I've tried to watch it and I didn't get it. It's kind of like with, how is Elvis the king? I don't know why everyone always going about Elvis, and I watched a video called That's the Way It Is. And about 3 minutes in, you go, I understand. Elvis is 100% deserving of being the king. Just whether it's your thing or not, it doesn't matter. You can totally understand it. Stevie Ray Vaughan, don't get it. Sorry. Oh. Howlin' Wolf. Now, these are, I mean, I have an answer for best living blues guitars for all dead guys. No, I didn't really give you an answer. My answer was C60, I suppose. I don't know. I suppose because even just like talking, I've watched a wee bit of Joe Bonamassa when he's talking about guitars. You know, he's obviously he's mega minted, so he can go. It's all about the story about buying. This is and it's not. I'm not really that interested in a 1956 Les Paul. The difference between a 1956 January Les Paul and a 1956 February Les Paul, which he's really interested in. But because he's really enthusiastic about it, you can, that's really good. And anytime when he's playing it, to me it is just it's the same blues things all over. It doesn't excite me. Rory Gallagher's not like that though. Listen, I've got to go up to get more booze. Are you still on time? Oh, you still got 20 minutes. Yeah, get more booze. Don't worry. I won't see anything interesting until you get back. Depressing blues. Oh, yeah, I think to be honest, if there's anything I like less than blues, it's depressing blues. I mean, that's like, to be totally honest, my whole life listening to, obviously like Led Zeppelin 3 was one of my favourite albums. Oh, do you like Since I've Been Loving You? No, I can skip that bastard. Do you know what I mean? And AC/DC, what is it? Is it Let There Be Rock? It's got the Jack on it. I don't listen to the Jack. Who's got that doesn't interest me. Led Zeppelin 1's got about 4 of those songs on it, and Coda's got about 4 of those. You can like what you like, and you can like what you don't like. I don't like that. Whatever that is. Dun, 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 dun. So the whole thing about when you're really sad and down, it's good to listen to really sad and down music because it makes you feel normal. It's like, why would I want to listen to sad down? Actually, I forgot to buy it. Yesterday I saw an album, Katrina and the Waves, that had Walking on Sunshine on it, and I forgot to buy it. Like on records and that. That's more bap. That's my thing. Not that I'm a huge Katrina and the Waves fan, but that kind of yes, woohoo. Not pure. Kind of why I never really got into Pink Floyd to start with as well. I hated Pink Floyd for years as well because people would put on, listen to this. And like 3 minutes later, like, did you press play? And it goes dung 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 dung. Okay. And then half an hour later, it's like the third note would come in. I can't be bothered with that at all. Whereas I saw live at Pompeii, and it was pure driving, and I made Pompeii was fantastic. But I didn't like Dark Side of the Moon, didn't I? In case I get used to it. I'm going to try and skip through some shit. These are good. Nick up to shop, get depressing blues, Otis Band, Tell Me Music. Yeah, if we're talking dead players, the list is too long. Yeah, okay. Was Lancaster? I don't really know Jeff that much about Lancaster. He just was funny. How old were you back in 1970? I was -8. Yeah. Do I want to know? I don't know. I'm sure there is stuff I like. It's just like I used to. I don't know. It's just like being a mad hermit and just having records and stuff. I never really listened to anyone else's music. Steve G. Who? Malcolm was born in 78. All right, actually. Arctic Monkeys went metal. Really? I thought the only Arctic Monkeys I know. I keep wanting to go that did on the dance floor, but that's not the Arctic Monkeys. I can't remember them. Is it did an album? Remember when the album came out and they were all like 15 or something, and it was just like one of their pals sitting on the front cover smoking a fag. Like it was just some guy you knew smoking a fag. That was the record cover. I don't know. Steve G. Nuclear Attack. Yes, that era of Gary Moore, because I never really understood why Gary Moore was pure huge, and then when I started to, it was one of a record I bought called "Rockin' Every Night in America," and in Japan, and it's just fucking wall to wall, extreme stupid guitar, which is much fun, much more my thing than see like your Steve Vai and your Satriani when it's technically good. Obviously, Gary Moore's technically good, but it's all pure da 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 da. And it's kind of funny the way Paul Gilbert is. It's amusing, and you can listen to it without technically knowing what it is he's doing. It doesn't matter. All you listen to it is him just going. It's like really fast and silly, as opposed to being any sort of depth. Love it. I don't get it. I'm sure there are some, but just because it's boring for some people doesn't mean it's boring for everyone. Lemmy always might be king, but Lemmy is God. Yeah. To be honest, I prefer Hawkwind to Motorhead. Probably Motorhead. You have 10 good songs, but I mean, I like his work in like Hawkwind's at Search for Space. That it's like I kind of like that very much. Oh. Don't let this guitar become which guitarist is better than others. This is the first time I've ever talked about which guitarist. I mean, I just get like the best guitarist is bloody Tony Iommi. There you go, and John Fogerty. That's just. I don't mean that you're wrong saying something else. I'm just saying that that's what I think. It's all. There's a personal opinion. There is a point where you go like, you know, no guitarist is no Gallagher's the best guitarist ever. No, he's not. Yeah, we can agree on that. That's fine. And other people, there's arguments for it. Oh, the jazz guys and the flamenco cats. I don't know, jazz guys. Sounds like a pure amazing night out. Is that pure? I was just hanging out with some jazz guys and flamenco cats. I'm happy. Wow, but yeah, that pure ball. I don't know what's on there. Les Claypool. Me and Buster were talking about Les Claypool the other night, and it's like Les Claypool is one of those folk that I can't play anything he can whatsoever, but I do appreciate that it's amazing. But I don't even know where to start. Kind of like when I was talking about, I'm doing a demo of a guitar, a pedal that Alan Holdsworth used. I can't even. I'm not saying I pure love it. I can watch it, just go, what the hell is he doing? But I can hear there's music there. It's not for me, but I can totally appreciate that it's totally ridiculous and I don't understand it. So that's maybe part of the reason why I don't like it, because I can't understand it. Look good in the dance floor. Is the Arctic Monkeys okay? I didn't know an Arctic Monkeys songs. There you go. We all guitars. We all love guitar. I think it comes down to like you get the soul of guitar playing. Yeah. I don't know. I think it's like, see, I've been talking about, what was I talking about earlier on when I was talking about someone being really enthusiastic about something? I can't remember, but it's like, see, even someone who's really enthusiastic and clearly loving it, that fly's obviously, apart from that fly, who's obviously really loving the attention of it being on live YouTube, it's like, if somebody's got the kung fu thing, where they're an absolute master of it and they're really enjoying it, it doesn't really matter what it is. You pure get it. They bring you in. I keep going back to, is it Chris Barry, who played Rimmer and Red Dwarf? He did a TV show called Massive Engines, like on Channel 5 or some shite channel. And it was like, to be honest, I'm not really that interested in engines. But he was so enthusiastic about, it's like, oh, it's a V12 Spitfire engine. Oh, and it's got 6 carburetors. And he was so enthusiastic, you get caught up with it. And the joy when you saw him getting to drive the 1920s Bentley and change gear. I don't know anything about 1920s Bentleys. I don't know. In fact, you get pure brought into it. And it's the same thing if you see somebody who's amazing. I kind of going that wee bit with the Elvis thing. It's like, he's so good and so loving it. And it's, you can't not love it. Even if it's not your type of music, you pure get it. Maybe it's just a case of seeing these things live or being in the right mood or whatever. You get the soul of guitar playing, Mark. You said it before. This is a 1980 Washburn Falcon. Solid rosewood top, through neck, hand carved, handmade, ebony, brass binding, brass, whatever. I don't like slap bass. I don't like slap bass either. I'm sorry. I can't do it, right? But that's not the reason I don't like it. The reason I can't do it is because I don't like it. It's kind of a little bit like, see, slide guitar. I can't really play slide. The reason I can't really play slide is because I don't really like listening to it. So I've never put the effort into playing it. I never had that desire to learn how to be good at slide, so I can't really do it. It's not, I mean, I've been playing for 20 odd years, so yes, I'm sure if I'd spent those 20 years playing slide, I'd be good at playing slide. But it's not really I'm interested in. I'm interested in Black Sabbath, so I'm quite good at playing Black Sabbathy type things or Stonesy type things. Check out Oysterhead, which is a collaboration with Stu Copeland and the dude from Fish. That sounds interesting. I play wind instruments after a couple of beers. Very good, very good. Before you slag a guitar player, ask after me. Yeah, totally. Yeah, but then that doesn't work out. That doesn't work because you can go pure, Ed Sheeran's crap, and it's like pure. How many number one albums do you have? And it's like, I've got none. Doesn't make Ed Sheeran good though. I'm not. I don't really have any feelings about Ed Sheeran. If I met Ed Sheeran, I'd be like, I totally awesome. Love your loop pedal work. I do like him. I've not heard enough to hate him. But that's not really the point. That's like, you can say like, let's go back to football. I'm trying to think of a fucking footballer's name. Ali McCoist. Ali McCoist can't score a penalty. He's rubbish. Are you better than Ali McCoist at shooting penalties? Well, shut up then. That's one of the 3 or 4 football players I know the names of. Yeah, totally. But I mean, it's an opinion thing. It's not a black and white. I can appreciate that other people can like other things and dislike other things. And I'm sure unless somebody's a complete knob, you're going to agree on a lot of things. I mean, I don't like Gibson Les Pauls really as guitars. I still like this. It's still a guitar. It's still cool. I can totally understand people who don't like Strats because, they're sort of thin sounding. And yeah, I totally get that. I do, but not. It's all in there. I can play Slap Place. It's a treat track. Through necks are through necks is purely for going, look, I've got a through neck. So we can argue about that. I think it makes any difference. Although in saying that, you can argue all the things that make sustain happen. Weight, through neck, brass clamped, through strung. All these things are meant to make sustain happen. And this guitar, I love slap bass. I must play this. There's just wall-to-wall slap goodness. I don't know. Corridors of Power. I think that's got quite a lot of the songs off that live record or the live CD that I bought are from Corridors of Power. Brown Sabbath. I've seen Brown Sabbath. They're pretty good. Yeah, quite funny. It's like with the horns. But actually, if you ever heard oh no, you're in America, aren't you? Or Canada? We've got the first Black Sabbath album has a song called "Evil Woman" on it, but it's not on the American version. Evil woman, don't you play your games with me? It's what the Black Sabbath one goes like, and I bought the original version, that which is by a band called Crow Music, which has the horn section going. It's much better than the Black Sabbath one, so that's kind of the reverse thing, where Sabbath are kind of taking the sound of the horns and stuff, not putting the horns in and playing it on guitar, and what Brown Sabbath are doing is taking the Sabbath riffs and kind of converting them back into the Crow Music version. So I mean, yes, I have. They're really good. There you go. Somebody doesn't like Strats. Fair enough. I didn't get Strats at all. Now I do. Yeah, you kind of sometimes you grow up. Sometimes I used to play clean. Then I started liking clean, and then I started liking fuzz. And you never say never. I've always been very conscious about not committing to something. Being in one of my pals actually used to do this. It's like he didn't like the Doors. And it's like, it didn't matter what you could put things on. It was like, I just don't like it. It's like, even if it was a song he really liked, you could see, well, I've already said I don't like the Doors, so I've got to stick by that, even if it's not. No, it's like, change your mind. That's where the strength comes from. It's really weak It's a really weak position to go, oh, I don't like the Arctic Monkeys. Here's a song. I've already decided before you even put it on, there's 100% I'm not going to like it. I don't care. Even if I do like it, I'm not going to like it. That's a very weak position, whereas the strong position is to go, okay, for 10 years I've been slagging off the Arctic Monkeys. Now I've heard a song that's really good. Maybe they are good, but they're willing to accept that. That was the Arctic Monkeys is just a thing. I don't really know. I don't have. I'm neither way. I've never heard a song that's made me go, that's amazing, I have to buy the album. And I've never heard a song that's going, oh, I fucking hate them. Level 42. I saw at the start of the lockdown, what's the guy's name again? Oh, I can't remember. I should know. Mark King. He did a live thing from his studio. I think it was him, his wife doing backing vocals, and like a drum machine. Just doing a lockdown sort of jam, and it was hilarious, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was really good. I don't really like Level 42 per se, but I really like the guy. I think he's funny, and I just can't do it. Hey Burnsy, any guitars out there that are relatively cheap but good, e.g. less than £100? Not most. A fair whack of the guitars I've got that I think are the best guitars in the world are about £100, £150 if you can find them. Yes, you can get amazing, but you've got to go outside the box a little bit. You've got to get that. It's like, oh, it's horrible. Look, it's spiky. Oh, I've never seen anything like it. It doesn't look like a Stratocaster. Doesn't look like a Stratocaster. Would that absolutely blow the pants off any Mexican Stratocaster? It fucking would. Yes. Is it worth as much? No. Is it better? Yes. Better quality, better parts, better build, better playing, better sounding. But it's an undesirable shape. So it's like, is it worth as much money? No, because you look up eBay and you look up used guitars, and you go up here, oh, I've got a 2010 Mexican Strat. I don't know, I'm Mexican, when they're great, they're great. I'm just using that as an example. You look up eBay and you go, all right, the last 10 sold for this amount. Whereas you look up any of these ones, oh, how much is that worth? We'll look up the last one that sold. Oh, there's none in the completed listings. Oh. And then you type in the model numbers for these. Oh, I'll type in Washburn Force 8 bass. See what comes up. Me saying playing that's what the hell will be. Oh, I'll type into, just in the internet, I'll type in Washburn Vulture bass. What's the first thing you see on definitely in the first page of pictures, and definitely in the first page of videos, and definitely the first page of hits? It's me talking about it because nobody else knows what it was. That's how I managed to afford it, and that's why I didn't pay $2,000 for a $2,000 bass, because nobody knows what it is. But basically, if you're looking for an unbelievably good cheap guitar, Aria Pro from Japan, Westone from Japan, probably the best you can get. But we're not talking about guitars that are as good as a Squier Classic Vibe. We're talking about guitars that are as good as an American Fender, but they don't look like an American Fender. Oh, there you go. Why so much suck? Who's sucking? Someone says suck. I don't know. I do suck. My mate John likes the black and white minstrels. A lot of sucks for 5 minutes. Have I been getting sucks? I didn't even tell me if I'm getting downvotes. Spike the likes. There's 27 folk on and only 17 likes, and apparently the likes make a difference. Don't know if they do. Makes it good anyway. Oh. Guitars are like women. It's a personal thing. Sort of, but you have to say that you would do like Ming's daughter. It's like, are you going to say no to Ming's daughter? Doesn't matter what kind of woman you like. Ming's daughter, even if you're a woman, even if you're not in any way lesbian woman, you're still going to go for Ming's daughter. So some guitars are just like, I defy you to not like that. Okay, you might not like to pay the money for it, but I mean, how can you not go, that's a pretty fancy guitar. It's really beautiful. I mean, it doesn't balance fantastically. Oh, maybe it's because I'm a bit fat now. ideally I'd want it to sit like that, and it kind of wants to sit like that. It's quite heavy. It's maybe quite difficult to play because it's so loud and clear. Imagine the first pedal make it. Yeah. Primus suck. Well, I'll agree with you there. Primus suck totally, because that's what Primus fans say. I bought a Primus Greatest Hits, and it was, I think it's actually called Primus Suck, and it looks exactly like a Kraft Cheese Singles CD, like you know, like a packet of cheese slices, like that, and it's like, yeah, that's fine. Oh. I don't know where the suck can come from. Very much the Strats suck. No, Strats don't. Well, I don't know. I can understand why you don't like it. I didn't like them, but get it. From a little bit of my views, like Strats are a little bit the way this is, where when you're playing it, if you don't play it well, you can hear the duff notes seem to be louder. So it's like you don't really get any. There's different types of guitars and different types of pickups. I've got a Flying V, an Arbiter one that's got a Gibson Dirty Fingers pickup in it from the 70s. And basically you can play anything, it seems to sound all right. It seems to smooth out the edges and hide the mistakes, but it never sounds absolutely stunning. This guitar, if you do it right, it will reward you. If you're sloppy, it will punish you. So maybe Strats have a bit of that in it. So I think for learning to play the guitar, maybe Strats aren't very good, because it's quite, you know, especially if you're playing clean and stuff, and you're kind of, whereas if you just fill it up with fuzz and stuff, you can kind of hide some of the distort thing. Humbucker's nice and fat sounding, don't like. Then Coil Tap, sort of. A Coil Tap, it doesn't sound as good as a real single coil. It's close to it, and it's in the right direction. But it's something to do with the other magnet being next to it. It doesn't sound as good as an actual single coil. But with the actual single coil, you can't beef it up. So I used to run a little bit. Oh, Primus suck. Here we go. The new old Ibanez Blazer I have for you forever was Sun 200. It's meant to be sub 200. Yeah, you pure stole that though. That's, people hadn't seen that. You changed it. Well, that depends. Maybe Scott, it might be absolutely shit. Who knows? You might go up here. Oh, it's just the same as. Maybe it's nothing like my Blazer. Maybe you're just going to pick. It's not going to be. It's Japanese. And it's made by Ibanez. How can it be bad? And it must have been good enough to reissue like 6 years or 10 years after. Oh, Daniel, have you ever had a Trace Elliott bass amp? I haven't. I have owned 3 bass amps in my life. I had a Laney, would it be 100-watt head with a thing, H&H cabinet, and then I bought a Marshall 400-watt, and then 25 years later I bought a Marshall 30-watt, a Marshall 150-watt for 30 quid. That's the only bass amps I've ever bought. So no, I do have a Trace Elliott speaker cabinet that I play through all the time, but it's not a bass, it's a guitar speaker cabinet, and there's 3 speakers in it, and they're all angled, which is really cool. But I don't think I've ever actually played through or not remembering. Primus does suck. I can totally understand why people hate Primus. I totally get it. I can totally understand why people hate baby metal as well, because it's so utterly offensive. It's amazing, but I mean, Primus is pretty actually not. I'm not saying it's similar to baby metal, but I can totally see a similar reaction to it. Like, see if you're a massive Oasis fan, I think you will hate baby metal in exactly the same way you hate Primus, for like all the same reasons, or 90 per 9 out of 10 of the same reasons why you hate it. It's like, I still think I don't think there's anybody, anyone, there's 25 folk on, anyone who's an Oasis fan, I bet you fucking hate baby metal, and anyone who likes baby metal, I bet you fucking hate Oasis. I think they're entirely mutually exclusive. That I don't think it's possible to like both. Prove me wrong. I just don't think it's possible. It's obviously possible to like neither, but I don't think it's possible to like both, because they're entirely the opposite. West Tone Thunder are great, yeah. Well, the Thunder one, is the bolt-on one. The Thunder 2 is a set neck, and the Thunder 3 is a through neck. And the A is an active boost circuit, which you don't need to turn on anyway. So yeah, the Westone Thunders are stunning. Basically, that's what. Well, I'm on Yamaki mode just now, but yeah, a Westone Thunder. If you could buy it now, it would be over $1,000, easy to buy to get something of the equivalent. The problem being, a Westone Thunder doesn't look like the guitar Eric Clapton or Jimi Hendrix played. It looks like a Westone Thunder. Therefore, it's worth a quarter of what it should be. If it had looked like a Les Paul, it would be a couple of £1,000 because it looks like a Les Paul. It basically sort of is a Les Paul. But the Lockdown Jams with Robert Fripp and Toya, yeah, totally. But I got to the point where Toya was showing a bit of boob though. I kept thinking, it's like, pure. Jesus, I think to be fair, I'd been watching the lockdown stuff for a while, and they didn't have hundreds of views. And then she did a thing where she was wearing a see-through top with like elastoplast over her nipples, and our subs pure went a bit, they quadrupled overnight. And then every time she's out, she was just being more and more sexy because she did it intentionally. She's exploiting it. And I kind of went off it a little bit. Some of them were really funny though. Primus are a bore. Well, that's where it comes. Primus, yeah, I pure love Primus. Primus are great. Oh, do I want to listen to a whole album? Can we do like 3 songs and see how it's going? A wee bit like any kind of music you're slightly uncomfortable with. Like, see, I was in Scott's car the other day talking about the Beastie Boys. I really like the Beastie Boys for a song or two. The third song, I'm kind of wavering a bit, and then at times the fourth song, it's like, this is kind of uncomfortable. Primus are a bit like that. I don't think it really necessarily matters which songs you put on, but 2 or 3. I mean, there's a lot of things that I see, like Yngwie Malmsteen. He's 1.5 songs. Put on any Yngwie Malmsteen song, fucking brilliant. Put on the second song, yeah, still really good. Time you get halfway through the second song, you start going, I don't want to listen to a whole album. Maybe put it into bits. My most Stratty sounding single coil Strat is a cheap stock late 80s Korean Aria Pro 2. The Korean Aria Pro 2s are fine. They're just not. It's just the thing is, it's like no matter how good they are, you compare an 80s Aria Pro, a Korean Aria Pro 2 to like a Squier Classic Vibe or an Epiphone, and it sits really well with them. The problem is that if you, rather than spending 100 quid that, you spend 150 and get a Japanese one, instead of comparing it to the lower, the Squiers, you're comparing it to the high end. That as good as you can get guitars type thing. I can understand why Toy is annoying. Yeah, I don't know if I would buy a Toy album. Laney all day. I don't know. I love that wee Laney. That's a smashing wee amp. Actually, I saw some. You'll see it if you're watching my videos during the week. Me and Scott went to the guitar shops, and there was someone. One of the guitar shops had that's a 15 watt. It was maybe a 50 watt kind of version of that. Not exactly, but it's in the same range. And I noticed that all the values in the front had stickers with what the knobs did on the front, and it's like, so it's the same as what happened to mine. It's like, someone's going up here. Oh, it's a bit dirty. I'll give it a clean. It's taking off all the letters. So that's why I bought a Dymo labeler, so I could put volume and distortion and stuff, because it's up here. Oh, it's a bit cloudy. I'll give it a bit of a wipe, and it just took off all the letters and ended up with just a stainless steel bar. So it's like a total fault of whatever that range is. The VC is, if you try and clean that shiny silver control plate, all the numbers and all the letters just come off immediately. Like, you just have to look at it and they just disappear. So that's a real bad thing about that. But apart from that, I really love it. Aria Pro. I don't know if you get Aria Pros that are bad. They get less. There's quite a huge jump. I know you'll get people who say, "Oh, I've got an Area Pro Stray Cat or whatever, the late 80s Korean one, and it's just as good as a Mexican, or it's amazing." I totally agree it is, but it's not as good as the one if you bought the one from 2 years earlier. It was made in Japan because it's just a higher quality. It just is. Any Tetrahedron, how's it going? I have played the Holy Grail of bass and ATK through Chase Elliott. May I prefer my Laney? Yeah, well, I don't even know who ATK are. I don't think. Or ATK? No, what's it? I'll get back to you. I can't remember what it is. Is TV Scotland still games on Hamofsky? What? It's on TV. You watch TV. You're not watching YouTube or Netflix or something. Wow, it's like move on from the 90s, man. Yeah. Still game, yeah. You get the sense. This is live still game. Diener from Fubar plays a Western Thunder bass. Wow, Diener sounds cool, and Fubar, I know what that means, but I've never heard of the band, and possibly you could, yeah. Oh, Ario Cat Pro Cat bass too. Oh, it definitely doesn't suck, but I think a Cat is the Korean ones. So if you go back to get an RS Cat bass, damn, I took it off the wall. I've got a laser one. I bet you if you put the two of them together, and they're basically both exactly the same, apart from the Japanese one's 20% better on every category. But basically, it's still an amazing bass. Totally get it. You can still play it, but it just doesn't have that. It's not a huge difference. It's not like pure brilliant and shit. It's like when you're improving. It's like the other thing, Steve. If you've got a car, right? It's easy to get a car to do 150 mile an hour. That's a lot of cars do 150 mile an hour. See, to get one that does 160, you have to spend twice as much. To get one that does 200, you're up at £100,000 to get that much better. It only goes that much faster to get like a Ferrari GTO or something, as opposed to the fastest Subaru. It's kind of like that situation where it's like depends where you can get them. Clean sounds Fender and PV, dirty sounds Hiwatt and Laney. Possibly, yeah. ATK's Ibanez, right? Of course. Yes, you're right. I do know the. You're meant to come over the other day, but I was like too much shit to do. I had 4 guitars to do. It just everyone just came up. Well, I've been ill for a week, so I had a couple of weeks off. It's like, see all the people I hadn't actually getting messages and stuff off that I hadn't replied to just because I was in bed or I'd seen it. You know, somebody's up here. What pickup should I put in this? And it's like, to be honest, I can't really. I've been awake for 5 minutes a day. I can't. I'll get back to you. That kind of thing. Ampeg SVT. Well, I don't know if you've got an Ampeg SVT. Look up the Paul Gilbert song, SVT. Am I going to try and play it even though I don't know how it goes? Da 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 da. Okay, I can't. But I love my SVT. Loud. Oh. I wish I could remember the words, but there's Paul Gilbert does a song about it on the album Spaceship One that is brilliant. It's like, heavier than I can lift. You'll know when I have riffed. Everybody, it's like they're louder than a Marshall stack, and it will break your back. SVT, da 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 da, about that, and it's great. So I don't really know anything about SVT apart from an awesome song about them. Still Game was one of the best sitcoms ever. I still don't think I've still watched all of Still Game. I keep getting into it. Ibanez ATK. Ampeg is especially great. The Ampegs. I never really liked Ampegs. I used to go to a studio called the Practice Pad in Maryhill, and there were 4 rooms. 3 of them had Ampegs in them, and one of them had a Marshall. And I used to be amazing trying to get into. Oh, we're in room 1, brilliant. I got the Marshall because I was the bass player. I really liked, and then I joined a band that were quite good, and I was looking for an amp, and I was talking to the guy. Oh, is happy? I was like, I'm going to sell the Marshall because it's like no, everyone complains about it. They prefer the Ampegs. It's like really. I thought the amp. I'm always over the moon when we get room 1 because it's Marshall. It's that one that I bought from the studio. Not for everyone, obviously, but I thought that was much better than the Ampegs. Before I knew it was for sale, before I knew it was what I wanted, that was what I wanted. I didn't say Still Game was the 90s, did I? I didn't mean it. No, I knew it was I thought 2000. No, 2000. No, if I did imply that I thought Still Game was from the 90s, I didn't. I knew it wasn't. No, because I remember it when it came on. There used to be a thing called Tune the Fat, which was on before they turned into Still Game. I had those two guys, another. In fact, Winston was in it, and there was a girl, Karen Dunbar, was in it. And Tune the Fat was half as good as Still Game, and the other half was a bit shit. A bit too lowbrow. You know, you need to be. It's fine being lowbrow, but still funny. But it was Tune the Fat had some good stuff in it as well. Karen Dunbar was awesome. You got a metallic blue flake ATK. Thingy bought one. Buster bought one a couple of weeks ago. I nearly bought one. I don't know why I didn't buy the one that Buster bought. It was 100 and it wasn't expensive. It was 120 quid or something. But it was away over in Fife, which if you're in America, sorry, it was right next door. It was like, I don't know, for an hour away, something like that. It's a 2-hour round trip to go and get this one in Fife. And there was something wrong with the pickup, but it's got like almost like a Telecaster bridge. Can you imagine, like, you know, like it's the metal plate. So the metal plate's this size and contains a triple bucker, a 3-coil pickup in it. And it just kind of looks a bit like a P-Bassy sort of. Ibanez seem to do, I think they've always done it. They do kind of 2 ranges of basses. You get your modern, and when I say modern, I mean the sort of melted, sucked, sweetie shape. That's modern from about the mid-80s on. And then you get this sort of retro-y looking one, which maybe looks a bit like that. You know, it's not like a P-Bass, but it's got that could have existed in the 60s type thing, and the ATK very much is one of those ones. It could have existed in the 60s. It looked fantastic. But the blue one, that was a natural one I saw. The blue one, although I'm pretty sure it was exactly the same guitar, it was a sort of light blue metallic look at it, and I looked at it. It didn't jump out at me and say buy me. Otherwise, I would have bought it. The natural one did, but it was like an hour's drive away, whereas the other one was quite close. But something about the colour, I don't know. It's amazing the difference it can make. I mean, I think that's one of the things about. See, I might actually move on to the bass. Sod it. I told Slap and Sniff I'd be playing the bass at some point, so I'll dig this one out. I'll smash it off the light switch just to make sure it's not in. That kind of looks good having the bass and the guitar next to each other. But this bass, I think part of the glory of this bass is the colour. I don't know what it is that it does. I think they're both on me. Yeah, both. But the thing is, my pal James, I don't think he's on tonight. Is he's got like a BBR one, which is Washburn did a range. It was like black. Everything's black apart from it's got red binding and red writing and stuff like that. He's got a 4-8, which is basically the same one. It doesn't look like this. And even when I slap your watch like on new bases, that's fucking miles better than the BBR one. Something about color can just do it. It's got a. I don't know what it is. It's blue. Okay, you don't get very many blue things, but blue with a white bind it's got like a 50s surf vibe to it. Whereas you could buy this exact guitar in black. It doesn't. It's not this one. This one's blue. It looks pretty amazing. It's a personal thing though. Actually, this is a wee bit like my Saltaire. This could be my Scotland bass, freedom bass. I got a metallic blue flake one. I think it's I think the one that Buster bought is metallic blue as well. Maybe it's just, do you see things that it's maybe something you've not seen before? I was in the guitar shop yesterday, and it's like there's a new, I think it's maybe a Mexican Strat that kind of goes from blue to turquoise to white, and it just looks amazing. It's like, I don't care. Just like looking at it with that pair, all right, I think it was about £700 or £800, but to be honest, it could have been like a £200 Squier. That one, it just just because it's different, and I think that's maybe what this has got. There's something about being blue with the white binding just makes it different. I've not really seen this before, which makes it thoroughly different. If this had just been black, I don't think it would be the same bass. Ashdown, don't know much about Ashdown. I do know they've got a VU meter, which I always like. The thing about having a VU meter is you're playing in the band and you've got the VU meter. The VU meter's not going up to the top. No, I need to work. In fact, actually, I've been meaning to do this for weeks. Someone that commented, is that an oscilloscope sitting on top of your amp? Was that up here? Yes, it is. I used to have it plugged into the effects loop in my amp so that it would light up when I was playing stuff. And I actually forgot that it was there. So if I just find the effects send, power on. Okay, I'm playing the bass, but I'm going to play through the bass and the guitar amp. So it should give me a sort of Borg cube type thing. Yeah, see, that's just better. It's better than not having it. That was actually why one of my pals got Ian, lovely guy, got a what's the pedal called? A plasma pedal, which is like a fuzz pedal, but it's got like a vacuum tube that looks very much like something. See when they're in the Goonies attic or something out of Back to the Future, like a flux capacitor on it, and you're playing it and it puts it through a vacuum tube and it looks fantastic. He got one of them really cheap, and I was really annoyed because I saw it on eBay. I was like, £110, I'm fucking buying that. And then it was like, the reason I'd seen it is because my pal had been up here, Ian commented on this, and it was like him going PM'd, so he'd gone and got it. It was like, these things are normally £200, and I was like, up here, bastard, totally bought that for £100, amazing. And then I got a shot of it, and it was like, it's a pedal, which is kind of on the floor, and really the joy is looking at it. I mean, it sounded pretty good, but the joy was seeing the thing go, so you kind of wanted to have it somewhere where you could see it. So basically, rather you just run it, having that on behind you, which it's kind of washed out there. But if you see it in real life, that's not really made any difference. It's just basically the same sort of thing, and it's just like an oscilloscope. Okay, I'll try and catch up. I like the Marshall 212 combos. I don't really know what they are. Like a guitar amp. Actually, I saw one. I talked to my pal Scott yesterday. I don't know if he's still on. He's still there. I see it. It was a JCM 2000 60 watt. Little bit tatty looking. It was £120. It was in Leicester though, because me and my pal Wayne lives in Leicester. I've got like a deal going where I'm the member of the Leicester buy and sell Facebook group, and he's a member of the Glasgow one. And if I ever see anything I really want, he can go and pick it up for me, and the same vice versa. If he sees something he really wants, he knows that, it's in Glasgow though, which is 400 miles away, or 300 miles away, but Malcolm go and get it for me. So it's like we've got a wee deal going. We've done a wee bit of, that's how I got the Washburns and stuff like that. A wee bit of, I've got agents all over the world. Well, yeah, I've got one in Denmark. They just like you get agents in certain areas. It's like pure. So I do have folk. I've got a guy in Glenrothes. I've got a guy in. It's like just in case it happens to be there. And it's like there's some things that aren't worth. It's like you're basically going to buy paying £100 for a guitar. It's not worth driving 200, 300, 400 miles for it. But if you know someone who lives there, you can go, well, I'll PayPal you the money, go and buy it, and I'll pick it up in 6 months' time or whenever I'm in the area type thing. So I've got a wee bit of, I've got agents, you know. Yeah. Ibanez X bass from the 80s. I don't know if I know what an Ibanez X. I've got my is it an X series? So it could be like a destroyer or something like that, possibly. I don't watch shows with violence and guns. Oh, I only watch, well, depends what you mean by shows. See, I like, your Goodfellas and stuff, and your sort of real crimey things that are violent. I'm not really RoboCop though, and Total Recall. Hell yeah, pure extreme violence. Folk getting their heads taken off and blasted into space. Brilliant. Because it's not realistic. I don't like it if it's like somebody in Glasgow walking down the street and they get shot. That doesn't appeal to me. On Mars, yeah, totally. So it's like violence and guns. We obviously, I'm really pleased that in the UK or in Scotland we don't have guns. I've never, you don't get folk walking about with guns. Nobody's got a gun. I'm sure that there are, like, there probably is a gun unit in the police in Glasgow somewhere. You know, maybe, I don't know, half a dozen folk in a transit van sort of thing with guns, like that, as from the police. But I don't think anyone else does. But the idea of just like walking down the street and thinking that all these people, because I mean, so many folk are just insane. You see lots of nutters who can't drive and who shout at lampposts and all these things, and it's like, thank God they can't get a gun. Wow. Oh, an ATK 800. I bet you it's better, but I bet you the 300 is really good as well. The Ibanez Yamaha are very similar in the sense of if you buy an Ibanez, I don't know, RG 300, bet you it's amazing. You can probably buy a guitar that looks almost exactly the same, but it's an RG 1000, which will be 3 times the price. And it'll every single item of it will be 20% better. But at 3 times the price, it's only 20% better. It's where do you draw the line about what makes it good and what are you're actually paying for? That's where something like that comes in, because that's not the sort of thing I would normally go for. It's like, because although it does have lots of cheesy things, a lot of them are just cheesy and show-offy things. The through neck, an element of that, the rosewood top, the brass, it is a bit show-offy, and it is better than having just rosewood and a bolt-on neck. But it's not miles better, it just looks better. Oh, I saw your Ibanez Jet King, yeah. Maple fretboard. Oh, it's not who was it we're talking about? It was the guy who was right into the maple cap rather than a one-piece maple. Which I'm sorry if I remember. I think it was you actually pointed out. I didn't mean to slag you off. I don't know. I don't have any. I mean, if you hear a difference, I totally believe you do. This is a separate fingerboard, so it's different. I don't know. I like the maple. The thing about, you get a maple neck, right? And then you get a maple neck. You're not going to see it in this video, but this one is just beautiful. And see, everyone who's seen this bass in person has gone, oh, that's a really nice bass. And I'm talking about people who don't even play the guitar. Brian from the Black Sabbath band, the singer, I turned up, this is up here. Oh, just when you see it, you probably don't get it in the video, but when you see it in person, it just looks really nice. Kind of like, I suppose, it's good into someone turns up with a Ferrari. It's a really, really nice. It doesn't matter if you know anything. I don't know anything about Ferraris, what size engine it's got, how much it costs, but it's a really nice. Just got that, the bling factor to it. An Ibanez Arco, but no, I doubt very much you can have an Ibanez that isn't really, really good. It's purely a looks thing to what you do. Hey, Scott. Oh, God. You don't own a blue guitar? Amateur. Really? You don't? You must have a blue guitar. It's one of those things you start thinking about when someone says, oh, I've got a blue guitar, and give me a second. I have a Washburn A10 which is basically that shape, but it's a set neck rather than a through neck. It doesn't have push-pull pots. Very similar guitar. This blue. I think that might be it. I remember painting an acoustic green before and going, it's the green guitar. Because you never get green guitars. And as you start thinking about it, oh, green guitars. I don't think I've got a green guitar. It seems so obvious. I don't have it. But I mean, the problem is, I suppose, if you're in Scotland, especially in Glasgow, there's we'll go political, football, religious again. There are a certain amount of people who would not buy this because that's Rangers colours. It doesn't have red, but they wouldn't buy that because it's blue. That's Rangers. And the other way, if it was green, people going, I'm not buying that. It's Celtic. I don't think there's that much of a crossover with people who play music and are cool and people who are mad into bigotry and religious segregation. Kind of two different people, but I don't know. But yeah, so there's an element of that. So kind of why I don't paint guitars blue and green, because you're going to get that. I did a guitar, but the only reason I'm saying this, I did a guitar before. It was a Strat, and I painted it green, and it had white scratch plate and green pickups, and I got about 25 comments going, Celtic guitar. And it's like, yeah, I suppose it is. It's green and white. Green and white. The Celtic football team play with a hooped green and white striped t-shirt. I suppose it is. I hadn't really thought of that. But it's like 20, or not 25, 5 people felt so strongly that they felt they had to tell me that. They couldn't just look past it and go, oh, I don't like the guitar. It's the same colour as the other football team. They had to message me and tell me that it was the same colour as another football team, therefore they hated it. I think it probably goes the other way as well. But I'm not talking about, we're not doing politics. I don't do politics, and I don't do religion, and I don't do football teams. That. My ATK is blue too. Was it blue and white with a maple neck? It was a Yamaki stolen by a jogger. That's a very interesting story that's got lots of things in it that I like. My first, it was blue and white, which is pretty cool with a maple neck. So it's like this. It was a Yamaki, which this might be. We're still not 100% sure. It's 1983. So Yamaki were still sort of running. It's really high quality, so it could be, don't really know. And it was stolen by a jogger. It's a story. I will basically see when you make it into a short film. I'll watch it because that sounds interesting. I think it would look pretty meh with the plain white scratch plate, but the previous one are tapping it with some black vinyl overlays, which gave it a really cool look. It could be. It's one of those things you can't really nail it on what it is that actually. It's like, I suppose if you see a beautiful woman, it's like you're going to get the obvious pure classic, but you get ones that are pure stunning, but they're a wee bit weird looking. Like, see, what's her face? What's the girl in Machete? Michelle Rodriguez. She is stunning. She's not like classic model stunning, but she's pure. It's like there's something about just the combination of all the things together. I suppose it's like if you're making a meal or a cake. You know, a cake. It's like pure. Oh, it's just a sponge cake, but it can be the best sponge cake ever. It's just a case of how much sugar and how much egg and how much flour. You know, there's how you get it, and sometimes it just seems to round in to do with the shape, the colors, the binding. That everything makes this one to me just look. It's something special. I see many reviewers of the new Artcore video guitars. Do you get old? I thought Artcore was quite a modern thing. That's the sort of Artcore is the sort of Ibanez. What do I call it? Mad Max jazz. It's kind of like they're sort of what you would imagine being a sort of jazzy type stuff, but it's kind of beat up and burnt looking. Yeah. I don't know. Bolt-ons suck. Bolt-ons don't suck. It's there's an awful lot. You're watching the wrong YouTube channels. Try it for yourself. I was like, Strats. Well, you said you hated Strats. okay, yeah. But I mean, the problem with bolt-on versus set neck versus neck through is it is cheaper to make a bolt-on guitar. It is, right? But you can make a better, it depends, it's a sort of selling feature. So you can easily make a guitar that's a bolt-on, like it's like a set neck, £100 or 150, like that Glancy, what was it called? That Explorer I had there was a set neck. You're not going to compare that set neck to that Squier Bullet or that. There is, it doesn't matter whether it's a set neck or a through neck. You know what I mean? It's like I don't know, like Spear or Harley Benton. You can buy a Harley Benton through neck Super Strat, and it's like, yeah, it's like 300 quid or something like that. Or I don't know what they do. And it's through neck. It's not as good as that though. It's how much you spend on it. So the idea of being able to move the neck about, I did show you that it was through neck because you go, oh, it's through neck. Nah, sound wise, I don't think it makes any difference. I don't know, Pontiac. You said that you don't really care about the colour of a guitar. I don't have a preference, but I mean, I do have. I've got an eyeball. Sometimes you look at it and go, oh, that one. I still think. See, if this had been red or black or white, I don't think it would have the same impact on me. I don't think I would have fallen in love with it and then made the point of trying to buy it. Just even in a photo, it's just slightly different. So I mean, yeah, and in certain degrees I do agree, but I mean it's like you come down to see like there's your A. Oh, this is a bass, right? So there's a B20, right? So it's got. I'm not really that keen on this tigery maple top, right? But look at the wood at the back of it's made of, right? Yeah, that's pure insane. Yeah, totally insane. So the color doesn't matter, right? So look at that. And then you compare that to, oops, they're not going to be in tune. Right. This guitar here, right, which is the A20, which is basically the guitar version. So this is exactly the same guitar. And you go, right, they painted it black. Look at the through neck and the amazing wood in the back. Oh, they've painted it black as well. If you scraped all the paint off this, it would look like that. So it's like, there is something in the paint thing, because I mean, I've been after an A20 for 10, 15 years, and I got this off my pal Wayne. It's amazing, and it is the guitar. I wanted one that looks like that, but the one that looks like that, they go for thousands of pounds. This is the same guitar in every way, and you can't say that it's as good, because it just, you know, why'd you hide that wood? It's annoying. Same element with this one, the Falcon. We're talking about this, I think, is the prettiest guitar ever, right? This is not the top of the range. The top of the range is the Eagle, and I've got the Eagle as well, right? So the Eagle is basically almost exactly the same, apart from it's got much more binding. It's like, you know, instead of having like, I don't know, one ply binding, it's got mother of pearl or abalone all the way around it, abalone all up the neck, abalone all up the thingy. And the top's painted white, the back's painted white. So it doesn't have this stripy thing. It's the same wood and stuff. It's just they painted the whole thing white. So you kind of like what I just did there with the stage series. If you've got the natural one, you can go, oh, the Eagle's much better. Look at it, look. But see, if you take the paint off, it would look like this. So you've got to have this next to it to explain how good it is. And yes, I know it's superficial. I know it doesn't make any difference to the sound, but it does make a difference what it is your opinion is of looking at it. Right. Oh. Marco, rock out some Sabbath. I could do, yeah. I will do. I'll play some Sabbath once I've caught up, right? Cherry Sunburst is cool, yeah. Have I not got a blue Westone thing? I do, actually. I've got a Spectrum 3. I used to have an all blue Spectrum, which is a blue fingerboard, but the problem with that one was it was too dark. So it's like, see, if I was playing it just now, you'd look at it and go, oh, it's black. Oh no, hold on. Oh no, I can see it's blue. it wasn't blue enough. It was too dark. So you just looked at it and went, oh, that's just a rosewood fingerboard. And it's like, no, look. And you go, oh, it's blue. It had to be much more blue. And I bought another one. I sold that. I didn't really like it. And then I got a Spectrum 3, which has got like a blue burst. So there's my other blue one. You're quite right. As a Scottish bass, well, yes, I think so. Well, I've got the Saltire sitting there. It pretty much is. Actually, I saw there's a guitar strap, which is just basically, if you imagine lots of Saltires in a row, and it's like maybe a bit too much for me. We do actually have a song in Cranking House called Independence Day about that. So I play guitar, so I need to dig out a blue. I'll play the Bluey Train. Yeah. Oh, I see, just Scottish bass. Ibanez Arco is a remake of an old Ibanez semi. It could be. I don't know. I don't think it's that old though. Well, it depends what you class as old. I don't think you got Artcore in the 80s. I think you're talking about 2000s, and it's like, that's not an old guitar. I'm sorry. It's like, you can show it up here. Oh, I know technically, easily you could have a 2000 or a 2001 guitar and say, here's my vintage Fender. And I look at it and go, it's brand new, man. It's only 2001. It's not, it is vintage. I get it. But because I'm old, I tend to think of vintage as being, but even I would say anything pre-80s. I mean, this is 1983. So, I mean, there aren't really any arguments for this not being vintage, but still it's right on the borderline for me. I would kind of argue that these two were vintage, being like 1979, 1980. But I mean, obviously, it only has to be 20. No, it has to be in its 21st year. So anything from 2001 onwards is vintage. There is no argument. It is vintage. But I still think of it going, oh, it's brand spanking new. And if you ask me what new guitars have I got, I've got guitars from 2005. Oh, it's new. 2015. It's brand spanking, absolutely new. Just because I'm so used to it. Westtone bolt on, don't suck Fender. Well, you can have a thing against Fender. That's fine. I don't know, but the thing about you got to remember the drunkie. Well, I am. I don't care. Hey, David, you're back. Was that you at the shop getting Bucky? You must have been miles away. Bolt on suck. Hope the neck on your set neck never snaps. Well, that's it. Stripy through next rule. Well, yes, I understand. I know. As I was saying, I was showing you, it's like the difference between, well, that's a Falcon, right? So it's got a 5-piece neck through. The Hawk, which is the one lower down than that, it's just got an ash top, and it's got a 3-piece neck through, and that's the bass version. So it's only a 3-piece neck through. So the more bits, the better. Daon actually do one higher spec than that. It's got a 7-piece neck through, but it doesn't have that shape. And even though it's the same guitar, sort of made by the same people, once you make it not symmetrical and you extend this horn, it's ugly and it's not as pretty as that, because that's why that's the prettiest guitar ever made. That's studio talk. They don't belong on the road. I get it, but that's the thing. It's like, is a through neck strap better than a bolt on neck strap? And it comes down to, well, I don't know. It depends how good a Strat it is. I am totally sure. I mean, I've got a through neck Telecaster, an Eastwood Monolith. It's through neck, yeah. Is it better than I don't know. It's like it comes in. I like your Hoovers suck though. I'll go for that. So does vacuums. I was like, so if you said vacuums instead of Hoovers, that would mean vacuums as in it could be like the vacuum of space. So basically, you're better saying vacuums suck. Is it? Oh, I suppose vacuums. Yeah, well, they don't really suck, I suppose. Okay, I've lost the. Why are we getting no? I'm not getting my. There we go. I've got to have my Borg cube running. Well, the thing about the whole idea about having like a one-piece neck, it's like you've got one piece of wood. That's why it's called a one-piece neck, right? That's obviously much more likely to twist and bend and stuff. So that's not as good as having like there you go. You get a 5-piece neck. Okay, it's a neck through, but if that was it wasn't a neck through, it was just a bolt on. That's 5 pieces. So you've got like the grain going this way, a different type of wood, the grain going this way, a different type of wood. That's obviously less likely to twist than a 1-piece or this is a 2-piece. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, there's my argument for the 1-piece necks are better. Gone, because it might twist, whereas it's much, much less likely to twist. That's never going to twist. If you look at all the expensive Ibanez, like your through neck Ibanez and stuff like that, none of them are 1-piece neck through. They're always 5 laminate bits, which is obviously a cheaper way of doing it as well. But just because it's cheaper doesn't make it not as good. There you go. You can go and buy a £200 bottle of wine. Like if someone was drinking a Chianti earlier on or a Merlot lap here, yeah. That costs £200. Is it better than Bucky? Is it? Fuck. I've actually caught up and I'm now getting into proper drinking territory. Vantage is a 5-ply neck bolt on. Five's quite a lot for a bolt on. They don't suck, they rock. Yeah, the Westone Thunders have a 3-ply neck. Yeah. It's just that there was a problem. See, when the first Japanese guitars got sent over to America in the early 70s, they had problems with them, the necks warping and shit, because they were fine in Japan, but they're going like to get from Japan to America, they have to go past the South Pole and shit. So they go from like the sort of temperature we've got here, 20 degrees or something, down to -40, going past the South Pole, and then past South America and shit, where they're up at +50. And then you get there and you go, oh, it's all twisted. It's like, of course I was. Look at the fucking. You'd be twisted if you'd survived it. Do you know what I mean? So that's why they did that stuff, just to make sure that when they got to America, they were still playable. So they made them excessively strong. That's why guitars like this and your Aria Pros and stuff are still amazing now. It was only designed to make sure it definitely got around the globe, so it can definitely handle -20 1 week and then 3 weeks later +50. Designed to handle that. So add 50 years on, fine. Agent Electrolux sales lady and staff were treated to Mickey by wearing rosettes, which proclaimed whoever sucked better. That would have been the 70s, Jeff. I think you'll find. I was talking to Taylor earlier on, and he was saying, he's just going to drink tea tonight because he was at a wedding yesterday drinking all day. And I was like, drinking tea? Poof. And it's like, that's so un-PC and unacceptable and all that. And I shouldn't have said that now, otherwise I'll get downvoted and banned off YouTube. But I didn't mean that in an offensive to the gays type thing. It's like pure, but it's like, it's difficult. Well, that's where whoever sucked better thing comes in. It's like, it's funny, but you don't obviously. I don't know. It's difficult. I bought that Westone I was asking you about. Paid £30. You paid £30 for a Westone. Wow. Oh, I said it was the neck was bolted to a Jaguar. Amazing. The thing is, even if you're paying £30, let's be honest. If you're paying £30 for a guitar or a neck and it works, how have you lost? How can you argue that's a bad thing? It doesn't really matter. It's like, it's different if you pay a couple of £100 for something that turns out to be crap. If you paid £20 or £30, I mean, that's what I was saying earlier on. I bought a Rockstar, I think the make is, it's kind of like a Jazzmaster with a Strat necky sort of thing and a Floyd Rose. It's like 20 quid, and it's like, well, it's 20 quid. Even if I can't make it work, I'm basically, if the neck's good, I've won, because the neck's worth 20 quid. Everything else is a bonus, and if the neck's warped, then you're talking 20 quid. What's a set of tuners that are all right worth? They've got to be worth a £5. A Floyd Rose, it's got to be worth a £10 anyway. And it's got pickups in it. You're already cleared. I'm going to go for more distortion than that. That on? How's that? Too fast. No drums. Your love for me has just got to be real. Before you know the way I'm going to feel. I'm going to feel. I'm going to feel. Oh yeah! Some people say my love cannot be true. Please believe me, my love, and I'll show you. The stars up in my seal. Please when you sit down, please take my name. Wow, I'm so drunk. I might not get that drunk when I'm playing the gig in a couple of weeks' time. Obviously, I don't have to sing it. I need to work out which bass it is I'm going to play because I've got I had the sort of Sabbathy EBO that I had painted striped up, but I gave that to the drummer because I'm playing I don't know, I was going to say 120, I think they're £180 Epiphone EBO. I have tarted it up like fuck, set it up like fuck, put extra pickups in it. But at that, it can't compete with this or any of the Japanese stuff I've got. It's, do you know what I mean? It's like pure. Here's a bar shandy at 0.2%, and here's a bottle of Bucky. It can't do it. It looked good and it was fine. Different league, so I need to get the other bass I was using was an Aria Pro Thor sound, which is a short scale, really beat up. I got off Scott. That's fantastic. I was using it in C sharp, and the thing is, it just sounded 4 times as good. So I need to find another bass for normal tuning. The thing about I don't know, the Thor sound's only 32 inch, so it's a short scale in lower tuning. And the reason I stopped using that as my lower tuning bass was because it sounded so much better than the Epiphone that I couldn't really use it. It was like, so I don't know. No idea what bass. I kind of like this because it's got a sort of, I might tune up the Aria to normal tuning and put this in drop C because Geezer Butler did play a Rickenbacker bass, and this isn't a million miles away from the looks of her. Oh, here we go. Brass nuts don't suck, they rock. So I'm trying to catch up now. They're nearly getting there. I've been on for 3 hours, and I've been on the COVID thing. So, but get vaccinated, people. I think that's why I survived all right. Because I was so used to, we're getting political, aren't we? But I took my, I don't know, my vaccine however many, 6 weeks ago, only got the first jab, but I was pretty ill for the night. And then as soon as this thing hit me, it was the same thing. So I knew totally what it was, and I was all right. You can have a load of my Rick copy. The blue bass sucks. Get off my fucking chip. This bass is awesomeless. Well, I don't know. Okay, I'll try another one. I'll try. The thing about this one is, though, this one's tuned to C sharp. Oh no, I'll go for the big one. The chances of this being in tune are pretty low. It might take a little while. This thing is an absolute beast from hell. And now I might play some Motorhead on it because I don't know. If you've never heard one of these in a confined environment, it's absolutely sick what this thing does. Maybe being out of tune will actually make it sound better. See, I don't know. I'm going to have to tune it. It's miles away. I'm tuning the wrong note. Miles away from being tuned. Hold on. I totally feel sorry for anyone who's got to play in the band that has to play with someone playing this thing. This is after a bottle of Bucky. So really how in tune it has to be doesn't really matter. Is that a thicker pick? It is. Not as much as that. Less volume, more distortion. I kept trying to think of this song. What was it? Here we go! Panther division destroyed! Gatling gun pounding with where deployed! Fretless, burning their seals the doom. Here we go, Panzer Battalion destroyed. Gatling gun. Oh, Jesus, it's difficult. You can't hear me, but the problem is the mic limiter is like, because it's so flipping loud, you cannot play this in a human environment. It's pure death. Play some Spinal Tap. Oh, Spinal Tap of a couple of songs I can play. We are the children who grew too fast. We are the gloves on a stranger's hand. Are jump to the ground, flying to heaven. There's no what to fly, but is right to beat to break like the wind. Yeah, I think you go for COVID recovery, overdose of Bucky and Magnum combined, and an 8-string bass with 2 amps, one through a fuzz pedal. It's just pure ridiculous. But this thing, when there is, you can see what the problem is here though. It hangs brilliantly, but I've had to move the strap button from here to there. So to play it, well, you can't actually get up here. But this thing is basically me and a drummer, and almost dropping it. This thing is the beast from hell. You can try ballad, trying to wind up me, but not liking that. It doesn't matter. I don't care. I'm just trying to think of the songs that work with. Oh. The captain left, the captain said, I feel like doing nothing. Wrong key. What's it? This is back. In case of remembering to the. Give it 2 seconds. That's F sharp. Joe's gonna turn off. The captain left, the captain said, I feel like feeling through the trailers. But the lonely one that you wish upon, but the lonely one that guides all the sailors. You got the look that only one guy. You got the things so really nice. You let go, you can't find. Oh no, love is just criticism. Stop right, you got the love and all I like. Take this crazy bird around. Let's go build this flight tonight. Yeah, okay, I do have neighbours, and it is in the middle of the night, so I probably shouldn't be getting a bit carried away. But that was one of the songs that, like, when I first got this, there's a better version of this on my YouTube somewhere. When I suddenly realized that song I can sing like Dan McCafferty. Buckingham is lethal. Yeah, it has been 3 hours and 8 hours. 3 hours and 8 minutes. I think I might have to give up. The reason 8-string basses don't rule the universe is because it's really difficult to find somebody to play with. I went in the cranking house one time when Nick, the bass player, couldn't turn up. So I was like, up here, right, I'll bring in the 8-string bass. Seeing as the bass player's not there, because we're already paid for the studio, he cancelled last minute. And basically, we got about 30 seconds into the first song, the drummer was on the floor pissing himself laughing. It was just like, what the hell are you doing? And I ideally want it split between 2 amps. But that and drums. Right. I ain't using no Digitech drop pedal. This is my drop pedal. Basically, it's like a 12-string guitar apart from it's a bass, so you've got 4 strings and courses. Oh, who's David Harvey's question? David Harvey, just if I can comment and tag you if I get what I mean. It's like, I ain't no millennial. I can barely understand what I'm talking about myself. But this, I don't know. Need to work my way through. The problem is, see, like that you're talking about your Digitech drop pedals. I know we've already had barrel tonight a little bit of a falling about you saying strats are shite. The problem is with an octave pedal, it's totally obvious as fuck to me when an octave pedal's on. The guitarist in Black Sabbath band I'm in, instead of detuning, uses one of those Digitech whammies. And for me, it's just like having a big sign saying, "This is processed." I can hear it instantly. Like, I can't get it. It's got like a digitaliness to it that you can't get away. It's entirely different from just tuning a guitar down, whereas this is actually octave. So you've got the high one and the low one in actual strings, which you won't hear it. The auto level's all over the place, Jess. I know it's like it doesn't even record well on YouTube normally, but if you were here, basically, I put it as like, see, like a stampeding herd of wildebeest. That's what this is. So it kind of does it anyway. This is also the first Japanese guitar I bought properly. I did have my West Tone, my Aria Pro, which was up there till this afternoon when I put it upstairs. I didn't really know what this was when I bought it. This is the one that I saw it. I'd seen John Paul Jones playing an 8-string bass when I saw him live, and it must be 2002 or something in the Barras, and it was brilliant. And I saw this hanging on the wall. I was aware of it. I saw it at the Tiger stripe on it. I saw it with the 4 thin strings tuned from this end and the fat strings tuned from this end. And I thought, right, okay. And I went home. I've told this story every time I've ever talked about this with my pal G. I was like, up here, that 8-string bass just looked mental, man. I wish I had 1,200 quid. And it was like, I think it was 200 quid. I was like, no. A Tiger stripe top on it. It was 1,200 quid. I'm pretty sure it was 250. No, 1,250. No, 250. So I phoned up Guitar. So like, hi, you've got a bass, an old 80s bass. I think it was a Washburn, like an 8-string one. He's up your eye. So how much is that? Is that it's 249? Okay. So I just drove basically back into town, and that's the only guitar I've ever had on hire purchase, because how could it possibly be 250 quid? Really? It's his neck through, man. It's like you can't see because it's neck through. Look at the wood it's made of, and that wood is the best wood I've ever seen ever. Look at it. That should be on the front. I really feel that the thing that they've missed with this though is having like the Tiger top on it. Nah. Wouldn't it be nicer if it had the stringers like it does here? If it just looked like this, where you've got that wood and this wood with that in the front. So from the front, you can see that it's a through neck. But then this thing is absolutely sick. It's also got like a neck, like a Toblerone. I don't know if you can see that. It's got an asymmetrical, really, really deep V neck on it, which I'd never seen before. It's the same on the guitar version of it as well. And it's actually the same on that forced bass. Yeah, Barry, you're talking there about the octave dividers. Yes, they can be pretty cool in the thing, but you can hear them. You can hear that it's been artificially done. Obviously, you're not hearing it just now on this live stream, but this doesn't sound like a bass with an octave up pedal or a guitar with an octave down pedal. It sounds somehow much more like a herd of stampeding buffalo. There's something about it that is real, because although that's in tune, the two strings are in tune, there's an element of frequencies and shit. So if you're playing it at this fret, the thin string's slightly higher and the bass string slightly lower. If you're playing this fret, it's the other way around. So it's got so much more of a natural vocal quality to it that you can't do with effectsy pedals. Effectsy pedals sound like effectsy pedals, and I'd hate effectsy pedals. Yeah, so I'm going to give up. I have finished my Magnum. I've now been up 3 hours 15 minutes. It's pretty cool. I'm quite happy with that. Thanks for the super chats, Jez, and I'll have to mention it. The same. Oh man, sorry, Jez gave me money and so did somebody else. I can't remember who it was. I feel really, really bad about that. I'll make a point of putting a thing on it. Yeah, no, thanks for everyone coming up. I got a little bit carried away because it's been 2 weeks without a booze. And look, to be honest, see, last Sunday, I was sitting in bed and last Sunday thinking, I think I'm going to be able to do the live stream on Sunday night. This is going to be fine. And then looking at the computer and going, it is Sunday? Really? I totally was 100% sure it was Thursday or Friday. I totally missed 2 days from only being awake for, I think, Thursday and Friday, or Friday and Saturday last week. I was awake for like 3 or 4 hours across the 2 days. I love getting a chance to use my 8-string bass though, which is my bass guitar. If it was Mad Max time and I was the guy hanging on the, if you've not seen Fury Road, I saw Mad Max Fury Road when it came out. I thought, it's pretty good. See, when I saw it like a couple of years later, like about a year ago, it's pure amazing. It's like the best film ever in the world ever. If I was that guy hanging on the bungee rope with the millions of amps driving across the desert, Sod playing a double neck guitar, I'm playing this, yes, through all those amps, and it'll be amazing. So thanks, all of you. I love you. Brilliant. Absolutely enjoyed this. It's been the highlight of my week. I've been ill in bed up until about, this week it wasn't too bad. It was last week I was really ill. I think maybe Thursday I kind of sort of broken through. And then Friday was all right. Yesterday I was pretty fine. And today I'm absolutely rocking it. And cheers, Jez. I will get around to putting a package together and sending you a big pile of necks that are all shite that I just want rid of. And it's like, one of the reasons I don't want to get rid of them is I don't want to give them to someone who's going to try and fob it off as a real guitar. I know that you're either going to fix it or bin it. Thanks very much. Finn and David, Baldino and Jez and Daniel, Slap and Sniff. You managed to stick through. I was sort of playing bass. I'm trying to squeeze a bit more bass in. And Pontiac. Thanks. Where are all the tech tips? That sounds like a strange one. It's like, and Buster, well done for keeping it up. I need to get to see you next week. I want to shot your Ibanez ATK. I saw you'd done a video of your Behringer double stack. I was going to watch it earlier, but it was like 16 seconds. And it's like, I ain't watching those 16-second video, man. I'm plugging stuff off. Cheers, Jeff. Catch you later. I'm ready to go and rock on. And thanks for the super chats, everyone. It really makes a difference to me because I'm a bum. Rock on. End stream. I think I've got to click again. I love you all. Thank you. AK18888 and Burnsy and the one who knocks and Buster and David and Pontiac and everything. Love you all. Catch you later.